Welcome to Mobile Video Mastery. My name is Max Crone. I am going to be your instructor. Let's just get right into what this video is all about. So what you can expect from this course. So first of all, we're going to be going over the goals and rewards of this course. Then we will be briefly overviewing the course curriculum. And then we will be talking about exactly how you get support. If you have any sort of questions, how you get support. So first things first, share this course. I can't do it without you. I want to create a revolution of real estate marketing, and yeah, like I said, I can't do it without you. I need you in on this vision with me. And warning, this is the most important video in the entire course. So don't skip, don't fast forward, don't do any of that kind of stuff. But pro tip, put in 2x speed. I don't talk the fastest sometimes, so putting in 2x speed will save you a lot of time. So I'm going to move my head over here and let's get started. So goals and rewards. What do we have for goals and rewards? So my goal is to help tens of thousands of people get proficient, not only proficient, but comfortable with the art of mobile video creation. And this is for tons of different reasons, whether it's professional, whether it's creative expressiveness. As you can see, I have creative expressiveness down here. Essentially what that means is being able to create what you feel and being able to express how you feel through creative work. So that's that is one of the goals. I'm getting a low battery already. So that's one of my goals. Another reason is just think if you had the opportunity to, maybe you don't have grandkids or great grandkids yet, but think about if you had the opportunity to give them video of yourself doing your profession or yourself at a family gathering, and you can see everyone that you were related to, or they can see everyone that you were related to. Or think about it in the inverse. If you could see what your great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, you could see them and their whole family celebrating Thanksgiving together. How amazing that would be, how cool that would be. So that's one of the main drivers. That's what I want to, be able to teach and get, tens of thousands of people comfortable and proficient in doing. So why? I wish I had this. I wish this was, this was more mainstream. Obviously, as I was growing up and even before, I know cameras are a little bit of a revolution. This is something that I truly feel like I need to express and teach and get out there, because I have such knowledge on especially real estate video, but I've been creating videos. I think my first video on YouTube was in 2012 or 2013, and I've been creating videos ever since. Obviously not, to the scale of, some other people, but I've been on YouTube since 2013 and or 2012, 2013, something like that. And I've been making videos just about my whole life. Ever since I got my first iPod, I was fascinated with video. So that's my why. That's why I want to, that's why I do what I do. That's why I want to teach you exactly how to have creative expressiveness, shoot videos with your friends. You don't even need to call it shooting video. You can just, make better quality video with your friends and have that for the rest of your life. So that is, that's part of my why. And lastly, I need your help. So as I said before, I want you in on this vision with me. I need you to spread the word. I can't get the amount of reach that I want to get on my own. I can't get that on my own. So if you guys could share the word, that would be extremely beneficial. Rewards. I told you I was going to talk about rewards. Went through the goals. So if you create a video with these course tactics and then you send me a certificate of completion. If you're watching this on YouTube, you won't have this, but if you're watching this on my community, you'll have this. So if you send me a video with the course tactics and the certificate of completion with passing grades on all of the 3 exams, I will give you 1.5 hours of my time for whatever marketing conversation you want. And a really, I guess, powerful practice or exercise, I guess you could say, is over the next month, create a note in your phone, title it Marketing Questions. And over the next month, just whatever marketing questions you have, maybe when you're at your computer, when you're out in the field, maybe you're a real estate agent and you are on a showing and you're thinking, well, or maybe it's an open house and maybe there's only 1 or 2 people that show up to the open house. Well, how could I get that out in front of more people? Write that down and revisit this when the time comes, for a marketing conversation with someone of professional skills. It doesn't need to be me. Writing down your questions and answering them periodically, as well as going back to the questions that you don't have answered and asking a professional. That's extremely powerful. So having those questions ready is a very good idea. So I digress. I went on too much of a tangent with that, but moral of the story: if you create a video with the course tactics and you send it to me, I will give you 1.5 hours of my time to address any marketing you'd like. So course curriculum, you're not going to spend 10, 15 hours trying to learn this information and implement it without knowing the course curriculum. So we're going to get into that right now. So the first module is shoot, and then that's followed up with a module 1 final exam. The module shoot is going to be all about A to Z, how I go through a property, how I visualize how that's going to look, and then how I press record the settings that I have. Shutter speed, ISO, resolution, white balance. There's so many things that you have to be aware of that when you're just shooting on your phone, you swipe over to the camera, you hit video, and then you press record. There are so many settings that are going to make your video look so much worse. So that's why it's super important to tune into that, because you're going to learn exactly what shutter speeds are best for what lighting situation, what ISO is best for lighting situations, what frame rate you should choose for not lighting situations, but just motion situations. There's so many things in this module that are super important to tune into. So that is going to be the shoot module, all about how to get a really nice looking video. And then module 2 is edit. So that is also going to be followed up with a final exam. And the edit module is taking that video that we shot, that beautiful cinematic looking video. How do we make that look even better? So maybe it's just adding a transition to the next really nice looking video, or maybe it's just trimming the back, trimming the front, and calling that good. But there's so much more that goes into it. Import tips, export settings, all of the tools in the mobile video editor, what mobile video editor you use, organizational tips. There's so much that goes into it. Transitions, speed ramps, stuff like that. So we're going to get into all of that in the edit module, and that's really where the magic happens. So tune in for that. And the third module is, so now you have a beautiful looking video. Now you have, a film that you've created out of it because of these edits. Now you have this amazing looking video. You've exported it. It's in your camera roll. It's ready to go. It's ready to get posted. It's ready to be seen. So now you distribute. So distributing can be as easy as going on your Instagram app and sending it away. That's totally a viable option. But what this module is going to be teaching you is how to do that at scale, how to essentially have a marketing team, like a posting team behind you without having anyone on the payroll. So that's something that I've experimented with to the point where I've sent out, from start to finish, I've sent out 450 photos at one time, scheduled to go out for the next 7 months. So that's how and I created this in probably 2 hours. The photos took a little bit more time, of course, because you want to make sure that you have valuable information in the actual creative. Creative meaning photo or video, whatever is displaying the value. So yeah, that is the distribute module. And that is, of course, going to be followed up with a final exam. And that concludes the educational portion of this course. So once those 3 exams are done, you're not going to have any more assessments. So this 4th module, I'm super excited for, and I'm super excited to share this with you. So this is all about how I actually shoot a property, and a live demonstration, hands-on experience of what I did wrong during that shot, what settings I should adjust, how I transition, how I shoot to edit. That's going to be a term that you're going to hear a lot more, shoot to edit. And me just talking about my entire experience while I'm on that shoot. The camera literally does not stop recording until I leave. That's how much information is in there. And everything that I think, I say out loud. So that is something that you should definitely tune into as well. These are going to be a little bit long form videos, maybe like 20, 30 minutes. I've made a few of them already, and the feedback I've got on them so far was really good. So I'm super excited to share that with you. I hope you stay tuned for that. So last module isn't very educational. It's just about where to find my resources. Everything from an easy link to Canva, from finding the right gimbal for you. At the end of the day, you want to know what the Resource Hub is. The Resource Hub is a spreadsheet. You'll be able to see the name of the software. You'll be able to see the description of the software, and you'll be able to see a link that goes directly to that tool or resource. So that is that. So you'll probably have tons of questions. So this is how you get support. You might not have my phone number. You might not know someone that also is a course member. You might not have my email, whatever the case may be. So the most important thing that you could do right now is join the community. It's completely free. Some of you watching this might be watching this course in the community itself. It's completely free, and it'll take you 20 seconds to do. So that's a place where everyone can go to ask questions about the course, talk about the real estate market. Actually, I will reserve the description of the community in just for just a second. So how you join the community, because that is that's the most important part right now. So you could either go to MK Media Pro /Rem Group, or you could go to maxcrone.com/community. So either of those will get you to the right place. But I'll have a link in the description of this video on YouTube to go there. But this is one of the most important things. This is something that I'm so extremely excited for. I'll probably say that I've probably said that I'm super excited for things, and I'll probably continue to say that I'm super excited for things. This is what I'm absolutely most excited for, bar none. There's nothing, professionally, personally, etc. This is what I'm most excited for. So hopefully you guys can get something out of this. And yeah, so let's just get on to exactly what it is. So first, when you join the group, first of all, after you leave your introduction, respect everybody and lead with value. That's one of the most pivotal things that I could say. Everyone knows the golden rule, and for some reason I just blanked on it. Treat others the way that you want to be treated. That's, most simply said, that is what the course is all about, or that's what the community is all about. The course is about value. That is what the community is all about. And with that being said, there's no tolerance for negativity. Zero tolerance for negativity. I will maybe give you one extra chance, but most likely any sort of negative comment I'm going to be deleting and I'm going to be blocking from the group. That's just not tolerated. There's no place. Some of you know my story. There's no place for negativity. Some of you know my story, how I was paralyzed from the neck down, and just about I made just about a full recovery. As you can see, you can use my hands, my fine motor. I'm moving around. Yeah, I just about made a full recovery, and I attribute almost 100% of that to the power of positive thinking, the power of positivity, positive words and affirmations. It's incredibly powerful. So that's why I don't have any sort of negativity tolerance. If you have a negative attitude, use it in Facebook groups, because this is not Facebook groups. This is something much, much more meaningful and engaging. So with that being said, no negativity tolerance, and celebrate your wins. Share a bidding war that you just won. Share you just went to the gym. Share I ran 4 miles today, and normally I only run 3, but I was feeling really good. Any win, literally any win. I want to hear it. Inspire others. When you post your wins, other people feel accountable, and when others post their wins, you should feel accountable. And that is a very positive flywheel that I want you to be a part of. So share your wins, share your successes, and join the community right now. Just pause the video. It will take you 20 seconds. I'm not even joking. It'll take you 20 seconds. So go pause the video right now. I'm gonna quiet down for just a second so you can pause the video. I'm serious. I'm gonna get back to what I'm talking about in just a second. But pause the video and go over there right now. All right. So exclusive access. I'm gonna move my camera over here. Exclusive access. This is super exciting because this is something that I've been thinking about. I've been scheming for a while. If you give me a video review of this course, just of the free version of this course, because some of you know Module 1 is just completely given out there. It's all yours. It's on YouTube. It's in the free course, or it's in the free community. That is completely free. So if you just give me a video review of the free version of the course, so Module 1, the entire shoot module, I will give you access to the virtual events. Oops. So and I'll go over the virtual events at some other point, but how you leave a review. So this is something to tune in for. So you can pause this, you can screenshot it, and you can get around to it whenever you finish this course. And I'll have a reminder, of course, but complete the first module. That's pretty self-explanatory. Then you'll film a testimonial video. This could be a 45-second, hey, I just want to shout out Max Krohn's mobile video mastery course. And please be sure to say it's the free version. It's it's a shoot course. I don't want don't want people to mix this up with the full version of this course, because that's just not something that I feel, is transparent. So please just make sure you say that it's the free version and it's the shoot course. So yeah, and then you post it on YouTube. Once you post it on YouTube, you send me you send me proof of the certificate of completion of the course and the link to the YouTube video. And with that, if you could include your preferred email address you'd like the the virtual event invites to go to, that would be awesome. You could just say you can use this email to send me. That'll work too. And then the next step, the last step, is send it to me on WeTransfer. So you'll go to WeTransfer.com, so WeTransfer, so WeTransfer.com, and then you'll send it to max@mkmedia.pro. So once those steps are completed, you will have access to all of the virtual events. The virtual events, the marketing calls, all of our Zoom events you will have access to. And just keep in mind that people are paying $57 a month for this. So, yeah, I'm not going to go into, the exclusive realtor community that's REM Peak. I'm not going to go into that right now, but some of you are watching this in it. Anyway. Then the second way that you could get support is simply reaching out to me. This won't be as quick because I would probably reply faster in the community than I would reply in in my email. But if it's private to you and you want to specifically ask me for whatever reason, you can reach out to my email. I'll try to get back to it as fast as possible. Yeah. So with that being said, if you have any questions about that, you can shoot me an email. So summary, let's recap. Commit. If you're on the fence after all of what you've watched so far, if you're on the fence, this isn't for you. You can go watch, keep watching short form or 10, 15 minute, 5, 10, 15 minute videos on YouTube with one piece of the puzzle and then the other piece of the puzzle and the other piece and the other piece. But yeah, if you're at all on the fence, just tune out. This isn't for you. I want people committed. I want people who want to be a part of this and feel like this will really impact their their mobile video creation, obviously. So if you're on the fence, it's not for you. But if you got to this point in the video already, you probably have some sort of inkling as far as this value probably is applicable in my case. So if that's the case, I truly believe that you deserve this. You deserve to be able to make really nice looking mobile video. And if that's the case, you owe it to yourself. Let's just be honest. You deserve it. You owe it to yourself to learn the skills to be able to make a mobile film. All right. Join the community. It's super quick. It'll take you 20 seconds. You'll have opportunities like I have down here. You'll have opportunities for connections, referrals, introductions, new knowledge, and so much more. So much more. I didn't even have in here real estate market analysis. So like I'm a finance major and I have I've been part of this class called Student Managed Endowment Fund. My sector I requested specifically for real estate. And so I've been, not only have I been learning about finance and real estate for a decade, but this, this course set me up better than anything else, as if, I was an actual employee at a hedge fund. So I learned so much about real estate analysis, the market, market analysis in specific. So I'll have weekly updates on that module or on that channel in the community. So that, like, I didn't even put that in there, but yeah, I guess you could rope that into new knowledge. But yeah, referrals, introductions, opportunities, connections, education, so much more. So at minimum, if you haven't joined the community, just join. Just join. And after this course, I guarantee you, I 100% promise you that you will be a video expert. All right, and finally, share your wins, inspire others, hold yourself accountable, because it does the same for everybody else in the group. So this, the entire goal is that you don't have the option to not be inspired and not be motivated. So join the group, share your wins, and finally share the course. This, I can't accomplish my vision without you. Share the course. Someone will appreciate you very much for doing so. You could be the reason that your brother, coworker, family member, whatever, is an expert filmmaker, an expert mobile filmmaker. I don't know. I personally think that's kind of cool. But anyway, that's all for today's video. This is Mobile Video Mastery. Let's get after it. Welcome to Mobile Video Mastery Module 1, which is Shoot. So just a little introduction and what this video is all about. We are going to be going from dumb, boring, unengaging video to eye-catching and irresistible. So who this course is for? This course is specifically for people who want to learn how to make a real estate video in specific. There's going to be tons and tons of takeaways for regular video. So if you want to stick around, you can, but I will be referring specifically to real estate shoots in specific. So if that's if that's not interesting to you, you don't have to tune in here. So it's not only 100% possible, as I have down here, it's not only 100% possible, but so easy. It's super easy nowadays with mobile video editors and the settings that you have on your mobile phone. It's kind of ridiculous. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about, but the barrier of entry has truly never been lower. I'll be your instructor. My name is Max Crone. I am a realtor and the owner of MK Media, which is a real estate media production company. And so my goals are specifically to refine and compact my lessons after 5 to 6 years of trying and learning and implementing different marketing strategies. I'm just trying to refine, compact, and make my lessons as digestible as humanly possible, and relay those to you. So this is super important. Share the course. I have such a grand vision with this course. I need you to share it, because the amount of reach that I want to have on my own, I can't get around to. So I need you to share this course. I need you to share this revolution. I'm trying to make a revolution of amazing real estate marketing and service. Warning, don't skip. This is the most important video in the entire course. So don't skip, don't fast forward, don't do any of that stuff. I have a tip for you. So pro tip, put it in 2x speed. Sometimes I don't talk too fast. So I'm going to make you a promise really quick. I promised this in the last lesson, but I promise you will be a mobile video master, a mobile video expert. You will be a complete professional after this. That is my promise to you. So not only does it benefit your real estate business, but it also benefits your brand. And it's, once you get into it, it's pretty fun too, in my opinion. As a longtime videographer myself, this course is laid out strategically, very specifically. I've, just on the outline alone, I've spent a week and a half, 2 weeks, and with that being my sole priority. So rest assured, this course is laid out exactly how it should be. That's why every video in this course is the most important. At that stage of your education, this video is going to impact you more than any other video that's in the course, because you have to watch these chronologically. So here is the layout. So the first module is Shoot, the module that we are currently in. So what are the lessons in this module? So the following lessons are included. Introduction, that's what we're in. And then the next lesson is gear. So that's going to be all about the equipment that you need, definitions about your equipment, and understanding all the settings. So all of that's going to be explained in the gear lesson. And then we have preparation. So preparation, what you need to do before you leave the house and before you get to that property or before you get to the shoot. And then framing up your shot. So this is crucial, absolutely crucial. Once you have all of that figured out, once you pull out your camera, now you have your phone. Should I shoot like this? Should I shoot like that? What should I do? In that respect, double check your settings and dial those in. Set up composition guidelines, rules, the rule of thirds. Definitely tune into that. And then shooting techniques. Shooting techniques is where you're going to set yourself apart. So push-in shots, crane shots, drift shots, spin shots. There's so many different shots that you can choose from, and we'll go through beginner shots, we'll go through advanced shots, we'll go through my mantra, shoot to edit. That is a very, very, very important thing. I probably already said that multiple times already. Shoot to edit is extremely important. And then finally, B-roll. So that is going to comprise the shoot portion of our course. And then edit. So editing, that's literally where the magic happens. That is where you need to make sure that you have everything dialed. We're going to learn import settings, export settings. Here, I'll just show you the exact overview. So overview, choosing the right software, that is complete personal preference, but I'll go through, my personal preference and what you can, look out for. Some basic stuff to know about your editor. Color and audio. Advanced techniques. So advanced techniques might be, advanced transitions or advanced color or advanced audio, so on and so forth. And then get feedback. So once you have created such a beautiful video, you might think it's amazing, but you might show it to your mom, you might show it to your friend, you might not think so. So that is something to be aware of. But another thing to be aware of, your creative judgment is better than anyone else's because you are the one creating it. You are the one trying to determine that feeling. So whatever anyone else says, take it with a grain of salt. But anyway, we'll go through all of that later. And then export and conclusion. Exporting, just ridiculously important, especially with social media platforms and compression. So we'll go through all of the best export settings, everything you need to know about editing on your phone, we'll go through. Distribute. So now that you have, and we did go over this in the last video, but now that you have your amazing looking video, now we have to distribute. So this is going to be a list of the lessons in the distribute module. So best practices, posting via a content calendar, tips and tricks with the content calendar, how to arrange different things to make things look better, make your posts go out more or less frequently, etc. And then bulk posting with software and a spreadsheet, so a CSV file. All of those things will be discovered, explored in the distribute module, and then a conclusion. And then we have live shoots. Live shoots are pretty self-explanatory. This is what the lessons are going to look like. So demo of X property and then X property showcase. So those are going to be two different videos that you watch the demo, the live demonstration, me walking through the entire property, shooting the entire property, and all of my anecdotes and experience. So you will see all of that in the demonstration. And then you will see the showcase and the actual final product in that product showcase. So this is roughly what it's going to look like. And yeah, so that is live shoots. And then Resource Hub. So this will be, as I said earlier, a spreadsheet of amazing resources that you can use, that you probably almost for sure will be using. And this could come in the form of an app, a software, a website. Honestly, there are some other modalities like physical, like a gimbal, so on and so forth. That is the layout. And now we have exams and the certificate of completion. So here is exactly what that's going to look like. This is something that you can showcase on your LinkedIn. You can showcase it on maybe your Instagram story or your Facebook story or your Facebook post, like a Facebook post. What you do with this is completely at your discretion. Once you complete the course, the respective course, you will earn one of these. All right, buckle up. That's pretty much all there is to it. So just a little recap. I promise you, I will convert you into a mobile video expert. I promise you that. I'll try not to bore you. Sometimes I can get a little boring. Sometimes I talk a little bit slower, but I promise you, I'm going to try not to bore you. All I can do is try. So, and next, share the course with someone. Share the course with someone because you could really be helping them out. You could be the reason why they are a mobile video expert also. And don't have a scarcity mindset. Don't have a closed off mindset of, I don't want this person to be a mobile video expert because that'll make me less important. That'll make me less unique. But have an abundance mindset because the people that you help, maybe they will use their videography skills to showcase you. And maybe you can do the same for them. And it's not a zero-sum game. It's not you get better and hopefully they stay bad. It's we lift each other up together. What is it? A raising tide, or raising tide lifts all boats. I think it is something like that. But yeah, that is absolutely true in mobile video creation and just sharing resources with others. So, with that being said, do this final piece for me before you go to the next lesson. Join my free group if you haven't already. It's free. It takes you 20 seconds, and there's so many valuable insights that you can find about the real estate market, that you can find about real estate marketing, you can find about social media marketing. There's so many different things. So check that out. And with that being said, this is Mobile Video Mastery. Let's get after it. This video is dedicated to teaching you exactly what you're going to need for a mobile video real estate shoot. So let's start off by the question that you're probably thinking. I have a phone. What else do I need? Well, it's not exactly, time efficient. It's not exactly easy. You're going to have to put in time, effort, money, maybe. So dedication to your brand is absolutely necessary. Second, time. You're going to need 20, 30 minutes to do a real estate shoot. Probably won't take you longer than that, but you're going to need some time. That's why I put that in there. And the gear that you need. So you're going to need, you might need up to 4 items. And I'll go through that in just a second, but not before we talk about my vision and my idea for a revolution of amazing real estate marketing and service. I need you to help me share this course. If you are a part of this vision up to now, please share this course. It's going to help someone else out. So yeah, that being said, this is the most important video in the entire course. Don't skip, don't fast forward. But one thing that I will allow you, pro tip, put it in 2x speed. Sometimes I don't talk very fast. Sometimes I use ums, us, and you knows. So yeah, put it in 2x speed. And now let's get into dedication. So some of you don't care about growing your brand. Some of you don't care about that. Chances are, if you're getting to this point, you might care a little bit. But for those of you who are interested in growing a brand, it's hard. It's hard. It's time consuming. It's not an overnight thing. It's not something that you can just pump out a bunch of volume and hope that it works. You need to be intentional. It takes a while. So, and I'm in the process of growing my brand, and it's taken me a long time up until now, and I know that it will continue to take a long time in the future. But what's the other option? So, and it's absolutely worth it. You wouldn't be trying if you didn't think so. So, what do The Rock, Ryan Reynolds, and Conor McGregor all have in common? And please don't say that they're actors, because Conor McGregor is not enough of an actor, in my opinion, yet to consider that a commonality. So what do they all have in common? Some of you guys might know. I'll give you a couple seconds. Yeah, these guys. Sorry, I was hoping this next screen was gonna have. Okay, they have all launched alcohol companies valued at respectively 3.5 billion, 610 million, and 600 million, respectively. So, The Rock, $3.5 billion Terramana tequila company. Ryan Reynolds, $610 million gin company. And you probably knew of, if you didn't know about the first two, Conor McGregor has his Proper 12, which is valued at 600 million, which, believe it or not, is less than The Rock and Ryan Reynolds. That surprised me personally, but anyway. And these are their products, or some of their products at least. So what does alcohol have to do with their brand? Any guesses? Well, nothing whatsoever. It's actually opposite to their brand. Okay, I'm going to go back a couple slides. These are all very fit people. They're all, part of their brand is fitness. Some more than others. The Rock played football at Miami. His first ever acting job was, I'm pretty sure it was this like kind of gladiator-esque movie where he was, the pinnacle of health. Ryan Reynolds, he's Deadpool. He has to be extremely athletic, and obviously it's, very unrealistic, but very, very athletic. And then Conor McGregor, he's actually fighting humans. Like, he's an extremely, extremely good fighter, and he's thought to be in amazing physical shape. But they all launched alcohol companies. Why would they launch alcohol companies? Anyway, I'm not gonna go into that. That's for sure. But it has nothing to do with their brand, and I would beg that it's actually completely inverse of what they've built their brand on so far. So, and they have hundreds of millions of dollars because of it. Not only that, but and for The Rock, a $3.5 billion company. And I think that's just his share. I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me on that. But from I'm under the impression that that is just his share. Anyway, in any case, these people made hundreds of millions of dollars on their brand on something that doesn't have anything to do with their brand, really. So there's that. That's just explaining the importance of brand. So now we have time. And some of you might not think that you have a ton of time. I'm just addressing the obstacles before we go on to the solution. So some of you guys don't think you have time. And in some sense, you may have some merit to that argument, but I would do this exercise. I would check your screen time, and I would see if Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter, I would see if all of those add up to over an hour. If so, I would probably I would probably tune in on maybe consider making some shifts to those time allocations, because, well, I'm not going to tell you why. I'm just going to ask you a question. Do those, does that screen time serve you? Does that make your life better? Of course, you might say that it's very entertaining for me to do that. Like that's something that I do at the end of the day while winding down before bed. I'm not going to get into blue light before bed, but yeah, does it serve you? Does watching those videos, does doom scrolling, does all these things, does that serve you? That's all I'm going to ask. I'm not going to persuade you to not be on your phone, as long as you are. But anyway, that will save you some time if you trim just a little bit. And it's only, like I've said multiple times, it's only going to take you 20 to 30 minutes to shoot a property. That's all it's going to take. It doesn't have to take any longer than that. You'll have the exterior shot. You'll have really cool exterior shots. You'll have, the interior shot. You'll have accent shots. You'll have everything you need to, to put a really nice video together. And what about travel time? So that is a wonderful question. Will you do an open house? Do it then. Do it 20 minutes before. Or if you go, some people take listings without even viewing the property. So if that's you, you're not, like, this next part isn't going to apply. But if you go to the listing for a listing meeting, or like having a meeting with the seller, going over the exclusive right to sell, going over whatever agency agreement you guys are going over, you can tell your seller right after that. I'm just going to see if I have something here. Okay, never mind. You can tell your seller, hey, I just want to let you know I'm super motivated. You wouldn't have chosen me as your realtor if you knew that I wasn't as motivated as I am and as passionate as I am about selling your home. So what do you think about me shooting a video right now? If you tell your seller that you will shoot a video right after you sign the papers, think about how confident they trust, or how confident they feel in your ability to deliver. So just some food for thought. Again, I'm not going to persuade you to do anything. I'm not going to sell you on anything. That's not my job. My job is to explain my experience and what I think is the most beneficial for both you and the seller. So gear, the moment you've been waiting for. Smartphone. So you're going to need some sort of smartphone. For the rest of this course, you are going to hear me refer to my smartphone as an iPhone, because that's what I use. That's what I've been using for my entire life. So I'm going to say iPhone. If you have a Google Pixel or an Android or whatever, that works totally fine, as long as you can operate those camera settings just the same. So Again, I am going to be referring to iPhone because they have a pretty good market share in the US. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and that's the type of phone that I have. Anyway, let's get into it. So I use an iPhone 14 Plus. This is for many different reasons, but one of the main reasons is obviously having a nice camera. So I'm just going to go through all of these real quick. So tons of storage, really nice camera, and a huge screen. So this is for, so editing, I can, I can find the exact point in which I want to trim it to. Maybe it's, seeing the colors a little bit better, seeing the end product. At the end of the day, the visual aspect of editing and shooting, having that screen a lot bigger for me is very, very important. What's even more important is the touch aspect. So my hands, I don't know about you guys, my hands are kind of big. My fingers are kind of big. That's just, that's a genetic thing that nobody can do anything about. So what I did is when I was looking for iPhones, I was specifically looking for the bigger phones because I knew, with the visual aspect in mind, editing on a bigger phone is only going to be so much easier. So when I was on Marketplace, that's exactly what I searched for. You guys don't have to do this, but especially if you are not trying to label or anything, but if you are a smaller person, if you have smaller hands, then you might not have any need for it. If you've been operating a a non-plus phone for however long, you'll probably be just fine. So enough of that rant. Most important thing is, as long as you have an iPhone, I know this sounds crazy. I don't even have, my regular phone is an XR or an X. I don't even really know what it is. But if you could pick up or get your hands on an iPhone 13 Pro or newer, that would be the best situation. I got my iPhone 14 Plus for I think it was $300, and this was kind of a while ago. So I am pretty confident if you stay on Marketplace, you could find some pretty dang good deals for iPhones or whatever phone of your choice. But if you already have an iPhone 13 Pro or newer, disregard exactly everything that I just said. But the most important thing is that, because the camera quality or as well as the storage. So having adequate storage is very important because you're going to be shooting hopefully a lot of listings, because the more video or the more listings you shoot, statistically, the more likely you are to get more listings if you show off those properties. All right, so this is just an iPhone comparison chart. You can pause this. The most important thing to, I guess, focus on is, let's see, so this wide angle lens, so this is just the aperture. I guess you don't really need to know that. We won't go into that too much. Well, actually, we won't go into that at all. Let's see, 4K video is also very important, just to have all of those frame rates. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for that. I guess I didn't overview that as much as I thought I did. But anyway, you could pause that, check out your settings, and as long as you have a 13 Pro or newer, that'll be good. As long as you have a wide angle lens, it will work. It's better than nothing. But I personally, I digress. I digress. All right, so the next piece of gear that you are going to need is a gimbal. So I know you might be thinking, well, that's probably going to be expensive. Well, first of all, let me describe a gimbal. A gimbal is normally, I think it's like a 3-axis piece of equipment that you put your camera on that stabilizes it. So here, let me just pause this video real quick. Seen a gimbal in your entire life? This is what it is. So what you'll do, well, actually, I won't explain exactly what you'll do, but it stabilizes your camera. There are tons of different settings, which we'll go into in the next video. Oh, I made it mad. And yeah, so that is a gimbal. And now we'll go through a couple things about the gimbal. So what I just showed you right there is the DJI Osmo Mobile 6. So when you have their app that you can have some more control over the gimbal, you also have more control over your camera settings, which is kind of crazy. You will be able to see a difference with just using your phone like this. Every single time you make a step, that camera will shake. I guarantee you. So when you use a gimbal like this, you'll go through and super smooth. Active Track 6.0. What is Active Track? So if you want to have the gimbal focus on a specific object, you can either draw a box around it or click the trigger button. So there's a little trigger button. You click that button and it selects the most prevalent object or subject in the frame, and then you can walk wherever and it will track you the entire time. So if you look at my Instagram videos, some of the videos that I have on my profile, I have the rear facing camera tracking my face, and when I move and when I'm showing my hand signals, whatever, the camera will be able to lock onto my face and follow me wherever I go, I guess. So that is Active Track. And then the tripod. So as you can see here, you can set it up wherever you want. I just set up literally right next to me. And the joystick, so the joystick just determines where you want to point the camera. All right, now microphones. So as you can see, I have a little DJI microphone on me right now. That's just to get better audio quality than I can get out of my computer. So that is why I use the DJI microphones. It has a dual transmitter with, and it comes with 2 mics. So in the package here, I'm just gonna right behind me. So it comes in this package. You flip it open, and you see there's 1 extra mic in here. So there's 2 microphones, and so 2 people can be mic'd up. And if you have that transmitter on, well, you will have that transmitter on. It will pick up both people. So that's all included, obviously, in the price. So pretty cool, especially if you have, let's just say, a property is co-listed, or there's like a dual agent thing, or you just want to make a video with 2 people. It'll pick up the audio on both people really super crisp. So very cool. And yeah, it's just super easy to use. I just plugged it into my computer. So the transmitter goes into my computer, the mic goes on my shirt. Turn both of them on, and it's ready to go. It's freaking awesome. And even if you're outside, so there's a little wind screen, wind muffler, whatever you want to call it. You just put it on the top, and you can walk outside on a windy day, and you can record a video, and it sounds good. So pretty amazing. Lighting. As far as lighting in real estate shoots, I don't use a ton of it, but if you want, you can find some great lighting options on Amazon. What I would recommend is look at the reviews. Make sure that they have good reviews. This is very common knowledge, but yeah, this is something that could not be understated. Find a really, a light stand that has a light stand that has like tons of reviews, tons of good reviews. Maybe it even has Amazon bestseller or something like that. And don't spend more than $40-50 on lights, because you won't be using them much, and I don't view it as necessary. But you can find some amazing lights on Amazon. Like I said, super cheap. I have two light stands that came with tons of filters, tons of attachments, this and that for, I think it was somewhere around $34. And I still use those lights all the time. I have a light that I got for probably $20 that's lighting my face right now. So pretty neat. So as I have here, you probably will not need your lighting, but I would bring it just in case, because sometimes you might have, let's just say you have a movie theater or you have a pantry or something like that that doesn't have super bright lights. Maybe there's like a dimmer switch and it only goes up to a certain amount, but it's not bright enough. So sometimes, uh, you're not going to want to mess with the settings on your phone, like on your phone camera. You're going to want to just try to get more light in that area. So in that case, it would help. If you feel inclined, bring it with you, but you definitely don't need to. And for props, I never use props. That's pretty much it. I'm not even going to go into it because I have zero expertise on props. But what I will tell you is, and it's not on this list, I would consider buying an ND filter. I haven't even done this for myself yet, so who am I to tell you? But this is something that is very important. I've had ND filters for my cameras. I've had ND filters for my cameras, and I can tell you one thing: it makes a huge difference in the quality. And I'll go over that in a different video in the next mod or in the next lesson actually. I'll tell you exactly why an ND filter is so important, but um, we don't need to go into that. What I will show you is a really quick video, 40 something seconds, on, I guess, on. All right, I am in no way affiliated with this company. But I just figured I would explain that because that's something that I think is very beneficial. As you can see with some of those before and afters, there were some significant changes in the quality. So I will be getting into more of that. Maybe I'll have a completely different course on that. But that is, that is kind of the importance of having external lenses. So, just a little summary, a little recap. You will need a little bit of time and you will need a little bit of dedication. So, just get the Osmo Mobile 6. Here, I'll show you again. So, it's not on right now, as you can see, but this is what it looks like. That is what the interface looks like. There's the joystick, there's the scroll wheel. There, you know, Lots of cool stuff you can do with the DJI Osmo Mobile 6. You will thank yourself a million times over. I've used it for so many different things, not just real estate videos. I've used it for content creation. I've used it for, friendly events. I've used it for um, career, like my real estate brokerage. We go to events sometimes, and I'll bring that. Like there are so many different use cases for this gimbal. It's so small. I have so I don't know about you guys, but I have notoriously just stored tons of stuff in my pocket. And I'm just going to show you how compact this thing gets into. So if you don't want to bring the tripod, look at this. That's how big it is. Look at how big it is compared to the phone. It's literally not even an inch bigger. I can put this in my pocket. I'm actually going to show you this right now. All right. Sorry, this is kind of weird. I can fit this entire gimbal in my pocket. Is that not crazy? And it's going to be in my pocket for the rest of the video. But yeah, so you can, and if you're a woman, you can put this in your purse, and super easy to just whip out. You know what? I'm actually going to show you something, and let me show you how fast this is to set up. So turn that, boom, flip your phone around, boom, and it'll take a little bit to get set up, and then we're ready. Well, I guess the gimbal's not quite right. Okay, now we are set up. We are ready to shoot. Isn't that crazy? So that is the DJI Osmo Mobile 6. Again, you will thank yourself a million times over. It's just such a beautiful tool to work with. And mics are important, but only buy mics if you see yourself doing social media content, spoken social media content, or spoken video tours. So those are, anytime, I guess, any content that has a spoken aspect, I would consider investing in some microphones. These microphones have been such a, just like the DJI Osmo Mobile 6, I've thanked myself so many times for getting these things. Just saves my audio like crazy. Props and lighting, optional. It will enhance your video, especially lighting, but it's just going to take you so much more time. And at what point do you just upgrade to a camera? Realistically, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that a video with a camera isn't going to look slightly better than a video with a phone, but it will take you so much more time, and so much larger learning curve, larger than this course, obviously. So that being said, this is Mobile Video Mastery. Time to get after it. All right, welcome to the second piece of this gear puzzle, which is going over settings on your iPhone, settings on your gimbal, and pairing your gimbal and your phone harmoniously for the best possible outcome. So that is what this video is going to be all about. Stay tuned. We'll go through FPS, frame rate, ISO, shutter speed, etc. And then we'll go through what the following modes are on your gimbal, and some more stuff. All right. Before we get into that, share the course. As always, I am trying to make a revolution in the real estate marketing space, so I need your help. I can't do this without you. Share the course. That would be greatly appreciated. And someone else will appreciate it too. So warning, this is the most important video in the entire course up to this point. This is the most important video, so don't skip, don't fast forward or anything like that. You can, however, put it in a 2x speed. Put it in 2x speed. I don't talk very fast. 1.5 times speed also works. But yeah, just hurry it up. It'll save you a lot of time. So without further ado, excuse me, let's get into iPhone settings. So the first that we're going to go over is frame rate. What is frame rate? You've probably seen this, interface when you're taking a video. It'll give you what's called the resolution, and then after that is that number. What is that number? That is your frame rate. So a frame rate is frames per second. So how many frames are taken in a given second of video? So this is very important with real estate video for multiple different situations. And if you don't like fully comprehend what frame rate is, videos are moving images. So and the standard is to measure how many frames or images are being captured in a given second. So if you have 24 frames per second, that means that 24 images are being taken in that 1 second. If it's 60 frames per second, that's obviously more than double. So normally smartphones will default to either probably 30, but maybe 60, or probably not 24, but potentially 24. So that is frame rate. Resolution. So resolution is, I'm going to go right back to that picture in just a second. Resolution is the amount of detail in a given image. So as you can see, it has 4K up in that corner. That is your resolution. So you could do 4K, you could do 1080p, and you could do HD. HD is typically 720. 720. All right, and ISO. So ISO is, the actual acronym is like International Standardization Organization, something really stupid and crazy. That is not important at all to know. But what is important to know is it's essentially the amount of digital brightness that your computer in your phone or camera, your computer in your camera is giving your video. So what this means in very plain terms is the higher your ISO, the more grainy, but the brighter your your visual is going to be. So I'm just going to give you an example really super quick. I don't know if this is going to work too well, but I have a light just to my left here. If you can see, it's pretty crisp for the most part, but when I turn that light off, it's going to compensate. So if you could zoom in, maybe like on this side of the video, there's going to be a lot of compensation. So the camera in my my camera right now, the computer in my camera is trying to brighten it up on its own. So this isn't a great example. It's a lot more prevalent in smartphones. So if you enter into a room and you have your settings on auto, if you enter into a room, then that's maybe not too bright, maybe the lights are off, it'll crank that ISO up and it'll look super, super grainy. Some of you know what I'm talking about, but yeah, just keep in mind that the higher your ISO, the grainier your image, but it's also going to appear brighter. The lower the ISO, the more crisp your image, the more kind of cinematic it'll look. But there's a time and place to crank the ISO up. It's just like anything. And then shutter speed. Shutter speed is how long the shutter stays open for, and what this does is it's also responsible for letting light in. But when that shutter is open, it's soaking, like that sensor is soaking up that light. So if your shutter speed is super quick, super short, it's only going to let light in for just a quick second. So it's going to be a very dark image. But on inversely, if you have a higher shutter speed, or I guess slower shutter speed, that's going to let that sensor in, soak up all that light, and your photo or video is going to be a lot brighter. So this could be a lot. This could be very impactful if you are in a dark room and you might not have too much light. But where this is kind of a problem is when you have that shutter open, that's also going to put motion blur into your photo. So if you have a super wide or a super long exposure to sun, it's also going to blur in, into that room a lot worse. Here, I'm just going to look up an example. I'll be right back. So here you can see the shutter speed on the left is 1/160th of a second. And the shutter speed on the right is 4 seconds. So huge difference with the amount of time that they're letting that light soak into the sensor. So in this situation, what they probably did is they put an ND filter on their lens. So what an ND filter does is it's basically sunglasses for your camera. So when when you want to have let's just go back to the pictures really quick. So let's say you want to have that really blurry image in your video or in your photo or whatever. What you're going to want to do is you're going to prioritize that shutter speed. So if you're going to prioritize that shutter speed, well, you're going to have to you're going to have to lower your ISO to 100 or as low as it goes, but that's still not going to be dark enough. So you need to put those sunglasses on your camera or on your lens to make that photo usable. So that's why these two photos aren't aren't brighter or like more or less exposed. The camera, the photographer knew what he was doing or knew what she was doing, and they wanted to show the difference between 1/60th of a second and 4-second shutter speed. So what I'm saying here is they've compensated for that exposure, but this is the difference. This is the second difference of what shutter speed does. So shutter speed lets in more light, but that also that doesn't just stop at sun and brightness. So it's also gathering more information the longer that shutter is open. So the quicker that shutter is open, so I don't know if it zoomed in on the video too, but it's a lot more crisp. So it's just snapping that picture in time, and that's what happens. But in this situation, it's letting time go, like letting time pass by. So you're not going to see that one shot of that water hitting that whatever it's called there. It's going to be a lot more a lot more evened out, a lot more smoothed out. Whereas 1/60th of a second is that moment in time, that whatever you're shooting at that point. So to kind of tie this into video, why this is important for video is when you're shooting a video, if you have your shutter speed on, let's just say 1/60th of a second, it's going to look super crisp, but almost crisp as to the point of jittery. Sorry, I didn't say that word very well. But when you have your shutter speed that quick, it looks almost artificial. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to lower that, and I'll give you a rule of thumb in just a second, but you're going to want to lower that so it looks the most natural. And that's why you can't just crank your shutter speed, as long as you can possibly keep it open for video. You can't just do that to get more light in, because it has other effects. So that is kind of what I wanted to explain there, and we'll get right back into the presentation. Just a really quick recap what we went over. So frame rate is the amount of images in a given second of video. Resolution is the level of detail in that video. ISO is ISO is the amount of digital compensation for brightness, and shutter speed is the period of time where the sensor is accepting information, accepting, input, I guess. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. So why change my settings? That's a wonderful question. So as I said with shutter speed and ISO, very important to note this, those two things are responsible for light situations. So high light situations, you're going to want to dim that down. Low light situations, you're also going to want to dim that, or you're going to want to boost that up. But it's not as easy as just cranking up your ISO or lowering your shutter speed to 1,000th of a second, because again, that footage just doesn't look very good. So how do we combat this? Well, let's take an example. If we're outside, for example, and we want to shoot an approach shot of the home, well, it's going to be sunny. We know that it's going to be sunny. So first, we're going to lower our ISO all the way down, because even with our ISO all the way down, that's going to create going to create the darkest and most clear, crisp image. But now we have shutter speed to deal with. Well, shutter speed, if we want a crisp looking shot, we're going to want to, or if we want the video exposed properly, then we're going to want to make sure that shutter speed is dialed in. But even with the ISO as low as possible, it still might be overexposed. So we might have to make that shutter speed, super, super snappy. But then we go into the problem of having kind of jittery footage. Well, how do we go about that? That's where an ND filter is going to help you out the most. From my experience, I've been able to get away with just lowering my ISO as much as possible, and then shooting in the lowest, or I guess in the longest exposure I can, without getting super jittery or getting overexposed. I hope that all made sense. Sorry, I was kind of all over the place, but moral of the story: if you're outside in highlight situations, put your ISO as low as possible, and then adjust your shutter speed accordingly. And if you're in super low light situations, you're going to want to adjust your shutter speed first. And when you adjust your shutter speed, this is where I will explain the rule of thumb. So the rule of thumb with shutter speed is you want your shutter speed to be twice your frame rate. So if you have a frame rate of 24 frames per second, which is what you should be shooting in most of the time, if you have a frame rate of 24 seconds, what you're going to do is crank that shutter speed up to 1/48th of a second, or 1/50th. Most softwares and controls are going to give you anywhere from 5 to 10 increments of 5 to 10, I guess, tenths of a second. So you might, if you're going for 24, the closest you might be able to get is 1/50th. That's totally fine. So do that, and then when you adjust for that shutter speed, then it's time to start messing with your ISO. So as low of an ISO as possible, with still being exposed properly in that dark room, is going to be your best bet. So hopefully that that ironed out all of those confusions and questions that you had. But if not, always feel free to go into the community and ask the questions there. So blur, this is something that a lot of filmmakers try to really dial in, and it's not exactly the easiest, but that's why I just gave you the rule of thumb, which is double your frame rate. So your shutter speed should be double your frame rate, and that should give you the most natural looking motion blur to your eyes. So that will accomplish just about the best motion blur that you can get. But if you are, let's say, you're going to be slowing down a clip. If you have, maybe you want to take a video of a fan that's moving really, really fast and you just want to slow it down. Or maybe you want to shoot a faucet that you also want to slow down. Well, you're going to want to shoot that in 60 frames per second, because that, you have more information in that given second that you can slow down and look smoother. So we'll get into that in just a second. And speed, well, I guess I kind of got into that. So speed, so you're going to want to shoot in 60 frames per second anytime you are slowing something down, and anytime you're speeding something up. I would personally shoot in anywhere from 24 to 30. So keep that in mind whenever you're on a shoot. If you and this is why it's so important to visualize exactly how you're going to flow throughout the property, what shots you're going to take, etc. So we'll get into all of that in the preparation lesson. So speed, very important to be cognizant of. White balance. This is something that, most phones will just come with it auto. I would guess that all phone cameras come with it on auto, which is fine for just, doing whatever with. But most situations are going to be either more blue or more, either cooler or warmer than they should be. So that is why I would recommend either downloading the DJI Mimo app. So that is what controls the gimbal that I use, and hopefully you use as well. So you can either do that, or Blackmagic has a mobile video, not editor, but mobile video shooting tool to give you more control over your settings. So you can check that out in the resource hub when we get to it, or actually I'll have a link to go to those apps down below and how you get to those. But those apps will allow you to adjust the shutter speed, the ISO, obviously your resolution. They'll allow you to turn internal stabilization off, because you're going to have it on a gimbal. So when you have internal stabilization on and you have it on a gimbal, you are having it stabilize, and then your phone's trying to stabilize it too. So it actually overcompensates. So what you're going to want to do is you can turn that off in that app, and then now you just have your phone that's being stabilized on a gimbal. No overcompensation is happening. You're just getting the smoothest possible shot. So you can edit all of that stuff, or you can control all of that stuff in this app. So super powerful. And you can also adjust the white balance. So when you adjust the white balance, it'll give you what's called a histogram. You don't need to know anything about that. A histogram will essentially show you how properly exposed your photo or video is. Again, you don't need to know a whole lot about that. Honestly, if you just scroll the Kelvin, so the white balance, to a certain level, whatever looks the best, that will be just fine. You don't need to dial it in with the histogram. So those are the things that you should definitely be aware of. And I'm just going to go into shutter speed again, because this is a very important concept that I don't want you guys to, I guess, have any sort of confusion on. So let's say I film 1 second of a video at 24 frames per second. Let's say I want to slow that down to 50% speed. Okay, so now a video that I took that's 1 second, at 24 frames per second, I'm slowing it down to 50% speed. So now it's going to be a 2 second long video, and in that 2 seconds, I have 24 frames. Or inversely, in that 1 second, I have 12 frames. Now, if I have one video, or if I have a 1 second video at 60 frames per second, so at the 50% speed, that will be 30 frames in that 1 second, or 60 frames in the 2 seconds. So put that in half. Now you have 30 images in 1 second as opposed to 12. You can see, how much more information and how much more jittery that's going to look if you're shown 12 images in that second or 30 images in that second. Almost a 3 times increase in the amount of different frames. So, like, unique frames, I should say. So definitely make sure when you're shooting slow motion shots or shots that you want to put in slow motion, put it to 60 frames per second. When you're shooting shots that you're going to speed up, feel free to keep that in 24 frames per second. All right, and how to manipulate your settings. I kind of went over this with the app that you should definitely be aware of. So this can be changed right inside of your camera app, but you will have a lot more control with these other apps. So you can go to your settings and you can change the default settings on your camera app, which is also very powerful. But again, this, it doesn't let you unlock your shutter speed or your white balance. So that's why one of these apps is super powerful. You can change it right on the Osmo Mobile 6 app, so the Mimo app. That's what it's called, to control your gimbal. You can also control a lot of settings on your phone camera. So that is also super powerful. All right, now we are going to get into gimbal settings. So give me 1 second. So some functions of the gimbal. Why use a gimbal? So you have axis stabilization. That just means your shot is going to be smooth. At this point, we should understand that. Portable / foldable. As I showed you in, I think it was the last video, it's super small. You can go like that, boom, and here. This is the tripod that you can add to it. So this is my iPhone 14 Plus. So keep that size in mind. This is the gimbal. That's how freaking small it is. It's like an inch. It's maybe an inch taller. And I showed you in the last video, I can put this gimbal in my pocket and I can carry it wherever I want. I could put that in one pocket. I could put this in my back pocket or in my other pocket, and I could carry that whole setup with me without a bag, without anything. So obviously, if you are a woman, you might not have extremely large pockets like like some of us have, like some of us guys have. But if you have a purse, if you have a little, it could be that big, and you could toss this in there. So yeah, definitely super portable. And gesture control. I haven't messed around with this. I don't feel it's too important for my use, but what gesture control is if you want to, let's just say you don't have a videographer with you, which most people don't. That's why you'd get one of these things. And that's why you're learning it yourself, which props to you. Absolute props to you. I don't know if I've said that yet. Gesture control is, let's say that that this camera looking at my face is my iPhone camera that's attached to my gimbal. So what I would do is I would put my hand up, and that would signal my gimbal to start recording. So my gimbal would then send a signal to my phone that, hey, we got to start recording. So there are different gestures that you can do to you know stimulate different actions. Sorry, that's not the right word for it, but make different actions happen, trigger different actions. Extension rod. So this is something that, like, if you have maybe a super high vaulted ceiling that you want to take a really like speculative shot of, you can oh, all right, bear with me. So you can extend this quite a bit. As you can see, I can't even barely fit it in the frame. It's just about, I would say it's at least a foot long, or a foot tall, I should say. And that will allow you to take different shots. Or if you want to hold it out and have a selfie, a selfie stick, you have that as well. So you can find probably a much more in-depth explanation of the gimbal, but I just want to explain the settings that that you are going to need for our purpose. Active track, so you can click either the trigger button or you can select a square that highlights a subject, and what that does is it tells the camera, hey, we are going to lock onto that object, and wherever we go, my camera is going to stay locked onto that and stabilize. Super cool. I've used this in a lot of different ways, but that is something that you're going to want to get comfortable with. Panorama. I've never taken a panorama shot, or both photo or video on the gimbal yet, but it seems it seems like super intuitive, because if you think about a panorama shot that, I don't know if you've done this before, but you can take a panorama of a really wide field of view, and it'll tell you this line that you have to stay on, like the for horizontal leveling, I guess you could say. And you're gonna deviate from it just a little bit unless you've done it a ton of times. So I would imagine, I haven't done this, and this isn't very specific to real estate video, but I want to put this in there. I would imagine the gimbal will it will pan very smoothly. Panorama. It'll pan very smoothly. All right, and dynamic zoom. So this is a feature that they have. It's like a pre-recorded shot. What you'll do is you will you will walk forward, and it will automatically kind of like zoom out, making a really cool kind of accent shot, I guess you could say. I don't use this for real estate video, but again, I just want to put this in there just so you know what it is. In story mode, similar to dynamic zoom, it has video templates. So if you're in this situation or this situation, you can click story mode. You can read some descriptions of a film that you could create that's basically templated, and you throw your phone on the gimbal and you record those shots exactly how they have them. You'll trim it to that amount of time that each clip should be, and it's kind of like a hand-holding experience for filmmaking, which is kind of cool. I haven't used this story mode because I create videos that I want to put my creative touch on. I don't want this to be something that someone tells me how to do, I guess you could say. So that's why I personally don't use story mode. But if you want to make really cool videos, you could probably make really cool videos with that. So just something that I wanted to put in there. All right. Modes. So what modes does your gimbal come with? So if you can see on this screen here, it has a pretty long screen. And what's going to happen is when you turn it on, it'll just auto pop on. it'll tell you what, all right, I need to put my phone on. It'll tell you what mode you're in. So as you can see, it has that little white symbol there. So now what happens when we hit mode? It'll change. And then one more time, it'll change. One more time, it'll change, and then it'll go back. So what this does is it toggles, or it switches through different different settings and different like axis locks that you can take advantage of. So the first one is follow, and then so that that's good for. I use that and the next one for the majority of my shots. So that locks the axes that you would like it to lock, I guess. So with follow, it's a very smooth like back and forth and up and down just a little bit. But with tilt locked, it's not going to let you go up or down much. But it is going to let you flow side to side a little bit. And it's not going to let you tilt the camera anyway. So the horizontal plane will be leveled with both of those settings. FPV. This is where things get a little bit more interesting. So FPV is going to allow the camera to sway this way or that way. So what this would look like with my loom right now is since I said that the horizontal axis on the first two will be level, the third mode, which is FPV, might go like this a little bit. So it'll if this is your phone on the gimbal, the first two modes, don't tilt it this way. But FPV, if you move the gimbal this way, and if if the momentum takes it that way, the camera will move like that. So this is cool if you're like following someone, or if you're like running, or something like that. And you're like making a turn. It'll turn with you, I guess. That's cool, but not important for real estate video. I would focus on follow and tilt locked. So I do use FPV for some accent shots, but I'm not going to get into that because that is, that's a lot more advanced. Maybe I'll go into that in the advanced shooting techniques portion. And then finally is spin shot. So this is going to lock all axes besides that axis of tilting. So yeah, that is that's all. I don't use that for real estate at all. Controlling your phone or controlling your gimbal with your phone, or vice versa. So there is your joystick. I showed you a little earlier. So this is your joystick. If you want it to look up, you point up. Want it to look, it would be right, I guess, in terms of the gimbal. You would point right, left, down, etc. That is the joystick, and you can adjust the speed at which your camera goes in that direction from low, medium to high. So it defaults to medium, which is normal. But in my opinion, if you want to have the most control over your gimbal, you will put it into slow, actually, because that will make your shots a lot more smooth. So active track, I kind of went through active track quite a bit, but that I think active track, the best use case for active track is when you are on the exterior of a home and you select a certain portion. Let's say you're looking at the front door. What you'll do is you'll put your tracking box on the left side of the house, and then you'll walk in kind of an arc around the house with looking at that, with having the house centered the entire time. I guess I'm going the shot techniques. I'm not gonna, you know, you can extrapolate the information uh, however you please, but camera settings. So camera settings, I also went over. You can adjust a lot of those in the DJI Mimo app, or you can get that Blackmagic app that I talked about earlier. You'll be able to find that in the description or the copy portion of this course. And then the scroll wheel. So the scroll wheel is something that you should definitely be aware of. So this is the scroll wheel on the side there. And if you click it once, it will switch from um, zooming into to an object, like zooming in with your optical zoom, or and it will switch from that to focus, like manual or autofocus. I would highly recommend you stay on autofocus unless you are super dialed in with I guess your gimbal and your phone settings. Where this could be cool is, let's say you're entering a bedroom, but you want it to go from like not focused into into focus. That could be a situation where you turn it off autofocus, but I would highly recommend just keeping it um, on the optical zoom, because optical zoom, you can just flip right to the wide angle lens and start recording with the wide angle lens. If you want to switch to one time zoom for an accent shot, or maybe more than one time zoom for an accent shot, you can do that with the scroll wheel as well. All right, DJI mics. So I'm not going to give you a super elaborate tutorial on DJI mics, because quite transparently, they're just super easy to use for pretty much all purposes. But I just feel as though more I don't know, more explanation on these things is just overkill. So as you can see, I have this attached right here. What I do is I plug my transmitter into my my dongle or my adapter, or whatever you want to call it, and it connects into my computer. All of that is done without me doing anything. So I take my transmitter, I plug it into that adapter, and I have clean, crisp audio going into my computer. What I do with this thing right here is, there's a little power button on this side. I press and hold that button. That turns on. That connects to my transmitter, and once my transmitter is connected, it shows me a little level bar. So as I can see my levels moving up and down and up and down, right over there. So I know that it's working. So this is super cool because it comes with a USB-C. Here, actually, I'm not going to show you that right now. It comes with a USB-C adapter with the transmitter, and it also comes with a Lightning adapter. So if you don't have an iPhone 15 Pro or iPhone 15 or whatever, and you have a simple Lightning, you can plug that transmitter directly into your phone and record really high quality audio super easily. So that's all I'm going to say on that. Full tutorial on YouTube. This isn't my tutorial, by the way. This is just this is actually the tutorial that I watched to learn what I know about about the mic. And of all of that, I don't think most of it is really relevant or important. But it's good to know. It's good to know your way around the settings. I just went through the basics. Summary. Let's give you a little recap here. So we learned how to change the settings on iPhone. We learned how to change the settings roughly on the gimbal, and what you need to know to navigate the gimbal, as well as the microphone. What you need to know to get around that. So the functionality, we went through the modes, we went through a couple of the key features, and microphone basics. Again, props and lighting, completely optional. it will enhance, especially lighting. Lighting will enhance your video. Um, but is it really, is it the best use of your time? I personally don't think so. So with that being said, this is Mobile Video Mastery. Let's get after it. Is going to be completely about preparation. So what the four things that you need to be completely aware of before going on a shoot. So first, charge up. Second, pack up. Third, communicate. And fourth, be punctual. And everybody's probably heard this at least one time in their life. Failing to plan is planning to fail. So that is something that you should absolutely be aware of. And let's just get right into it. This video is going to be pretty short, but definitely pay attention. Don't skip around. Make sure, as obvious as this seems, just make sure you tune into the whole video. So with that being said, let's get into it. So charge. Nothing is worse than getting onto a shoot and realizing that, oh, I'm at 50% battery, I'm at 45% battery, especially with your gimbal, because when your gimbal gets kind of lower, like in those lower battery areas, um, from my experience, my gimbal hasn't performed as well as it should. So if you charge it up, you can charge it up on the way there if you realize, oh, I didn't charge it up. But avoid this at all costs. Plug your phone in before bed and wake up with a charged phone. If you use it during the day, charge it during the day, maybe on the way there or while you're working or whatever. And yeah, so definitely make sure your phone's charged. And you're probably only going to use your gimbal once or twice throughout the day, so I would charge that overnight too, especially because most gimbals and the DJI Osmo Mobile 6 has USB-C. And from my understanding, there used to be an issue with different types of cables, and overcharging being an issue, and like degrading the battery life. But with USB-C, I'm under the impression that that doesn't happen. So kind of neat. You can leave your gimbal charging however long you want, and it's not supposed to degrade the battery, which is awesome. But yeah, it's just awkward. It's low stress. I've been in one of these situations where I only had one camera battery that day, and my camera battery, was probably at 80 something percent. And I got down to I don't know, I got down to probably almost 20-ish%. And it's not like I was at risk of it dying, but it's like, that's a very real possibility. So as basic as it sounds, you can avoid so many problems by just making sure everything is 100%. Yeah, you are gonna thank yourself. Let's get into packing. So, and like I said, all of these things are relatively obvious, but it needs to be said, and it can't be understated. Like, the importance really can't be understated. Make sure, double check, triple check that you have your phone, you have your gimbal, and if you're doing a spoken portion, you have your mic, your mic case, and the bag, and maybe the windscreens. Because if you're doing a spoken portion, chances are you're going to be starting outside. If it's windy, you're going to want to make sure you have your entire bag with the windscreen or the wind muffler, whatever it's called, and you can just toss that right on the top for your subject. Or if it's you, you're just going to make sure you're going to be able to do that. So double check, triple check that you have everything before you go. And I always, every time, I'll do this double check and triple check. And before I head out the door, I'm like, okay, bottom line, what are the tools that I need to get this project done? And I need to make sure I know, like I visualize where I put those things. So like, I know I have my phone in my left pocket. I have my gimbal in my backpack. I just zipped it up. So like, it's it sounds crazy. Again, it sounds crazy, sounds basic, but it really can't be overstated. All right, let's get into communicate. This isn't exactly going to be the case for all situations. If you are a real estate agent, you might just schedule a showing and you'll show up to the property and that'll be that. Like you'll, um, well, I guess that's not the case. You're going to be shooting your own listings. Sorry, I thought of me shooting a property in-house for the company that I work for. So you're not going to do that. Uh, you're only going to do that if you are a real estate agent and doing it for other people, which you can do. Like that's, I've done that and it's worked out really well. But again, you're not going to be scheduling a showing for your own listing. So you're just going to go to your listing and make sure you inform the seller if the seller's still living in the property. If they're living elsewhere, obviously, maybe you still notify them or whatever. But if you're working with someone, so this is maybe if you want to do a spoken portion and you're going to bring your microphones, then you're bringing your microphones because you're maybe meeting another agent there. So this is an idea for you. You could meet another agent at your listing, and maybe you'll get to their listing in just a minute. But you no, you'll mic yourself up. And they'll you'll put your transmitter into your phone on the gimbal, and that other agent will film you, and you'll say, "Hi, welcome to 5190 Bluff Court. This is, my name is Max Crone with Addison Jones. Come on in," something like that. And then at the end, you'll film an outro, and you'll make sure your audio is good and all of that. But then you'll go to their listing, and when you go to their listing, you do the same thing. And if you have the microphones, you can even offer them, "Hey, I'll even provide the microphones." I think they'd appreciate that quite a bit if you provide all the gear, and and you give them such a good opportunity to get some social media content. This could be very beneficial for you and them, but they would be thanking you more than you'd be appreciating them, which is, I guess, if you're playing the value game and being transactional, I guess it's good to have the upper hand with leading with value. Anyway, I'm rambling and digressing way too much from where I wanted to be. So communicate. The realtor that you want to shoot with, or maybe it's a friend who you want to, or you're paying him, $25 to be your videographer for the day, or for the hour or two. Just communicate with them, because you don't communicate with them and you expect them to be at the property at this and that time, and maybe the last time you told them was a couple of days ago. Well, you get to that property and they're not there. They're sleeping because they forgot. Remember, this is more important to you than it is to them. They don't care. So, well, I shouldn't say they don't care. Most of the time, they don't care that much. Sometimes they care a little bit. But again, in that situation, it's for you. Make sure you remind them the day before and the day leading up to it. Just making sure they're awake. Maybe you call them, say, "Hey, how's your day going?" Whatever. And just make sure you communicate with them. Okay. All right. And punctuality. This goes with communicate. This really goes with, you know, everything, but punctuality. So this one is, of all things, well, I guess all of them are absolutely crucial. So, okay, I'm just going to get down to it. Be courteous of their time. Don't, don't be, um, don't be a couple minutes late. Don't be 10 minutes, 15 minutes early. Be anywhere from 1 to like 5 minutes early. I know that sounds crazy, but if you're any later, then um, and they're already there, they're expecting you if you are working with someone else. So like let's say it's another realtor, or let's say it's the seller, or let's say it is, a videographer. Just because, you are employing them doesn't mean that you can be like that. That's all the more reason that you have to be early. But this also goes for videographers too. So if you're a videographer, making this video for a realtor, you absolutely have to be there in that time frame. Because if you're working with someone else, and of course this only really happens if, like, this only applies if you're working with someone else, but if you're doing so and you get there 10 minutes early, 15 minutes early, and let's say they get there 7 minutes early and they ask you how long you've been there, and you say, well, I've been here probably 10 minutes or so, they're going to, it's not that they're going to devalue, well, I guess they are going to devalue your time just a little bit. This is a complete, subconscious thing. But when you get there to that property so early, you are almost expecting to wait all up until the time that the shoot is scheduled. Say the shoot's scheduled at 2 o'clock, you get there at 1:45, and you're waiting around until 2 o'clock because you guys told each other that you'll meet there at 2, and that was the expectation. And when they say, how long have you been here? And you say, I've been here since probably 1:40, 1:45, something like that. Well, they're going to be like, like, what have you been doing this whole time? This is going to sound crazy, but when people see that you are busy, they're going to kind of rope that into value. Because when you are, when you're busy, when you're doing things, when you are going out and accomplishing things that require your time and effort, chances are you're either doing it for, the benefit of others in some way, or like you're getting paid for it, or there's some sort of value exchange. There's some sort of reason that you needed to be there, and you needed to provide someone with something. So when when you don't have something like that in that 10-15 minutes, then people are going to be like, well, like, you had nothing else better to do than get to the property 15 minutes early. Again, I know it sounds crazy, but it's just human psychology. And I've dealt with that in the past. I've been early to shoots. I've been super early to shoots, and I was just waiting around. And the one exception I will say to this is if you let the realtor know, if you let your videographer know, you let the people in communication that you're in communication with, if you say, hey, I'm going to be a little early, can you meet me out there any earlier? Or are you kind of are you thinking you're going to be on time? That's not like in any way pushy on like trying to get them earlier. That's just saying, hey, I got my stuff done faster than expected, which is also great, and from a psychology standpoint. And they might they might be able to meet you out there earlier so you can get on with the rest of your day. So that's just some basic things about punctuality. And yeah. All right. Yeah. So let's just recap. So have your gear all charged up, so avoid so many problems. And double check, triple check, and make 100% sure you are not going to forget a single thing before you walk out the door. And also, communication kind of gets roped into that too. So when you are leaving, when you're on your way to that shoot, if you have a long drive, maybe call them, if you haven't, communicated with them for, the earlier part of the day, make sure that you and them are completely on the same page with what you're going to do, when you're going to get there, and everything else. And be punctual and be courteous of people's time. Be there within 1 to 5 minutes of the actual shoot time, early, 1 to 5 minutes early of that shoot time. So 2 o'clock shoot, 150 or 155, anywhere from 155 up until 159, pretty much. So that is the sweet spot. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff if you're watching on YouTube. But this is Mobile Video Mastery. It's time to get after it. Welcome to part 2 of our preparation lesson, where we're going to talk about exactly how I walk through and visualize a property. So this is as soon as you get to the property, but before you record. So let's just get right into it, but not before I explain my message. So as you guys know, I have a pretty grand vision with this course and with this information. So please share it. I want to start a revolution of real estate service and real estate marketing. So please share it. The reach that I want to get, I can't go out and get on my own. So if you could share it, that would be freaking awesome. All right. Walkthrough. What is the walkthrough? How do we do it, and why do we do it? So what is the walkthrough? The walkthrough, as soon as you get to the property, what you do is, if you're going through it with someone, if you're meeting someone there, what you'll say is, hey, I'm just gonna get a quick feel for the property, and then we're gonna be ready to go. So once you get there, this is just seeing every single room and every single aspect that you are going to be shooting. And this also includes the stuff that you're not going to be shooting. So if there's someone in charge or someone that you need to adhere to with regards to the quality of the video or what they want in it and out of it, you're going to ask them, hey, is there anything in specific that you want me for a 100% fact to shoot and get in the video, and is there anything in the property that you absolutely want to shy away from? So this will just kind of make things easier when it comes to editing and when it comes to putting the video together. You're going to be like, okay, so they asked for this and they made sure that, or they told me to make sure I didn't get this. So when you deliver it to them, they're going to be very happy. Or when you post it and when they see it, they're going to be very happy. So a walkthrough, very important for the case of adhering to someone else's request with regards to how they want the video to look. So, that is kind of the what. How do we do it? Well, it's pretty simple. So as I mentioned, there's tons of, there's tons of rooms. There's, nooks and crannies that you want to be familiar with and, familiarize yourself with. So what you're going to do is you're going to just make sure you get multiple angles of every single, aspect of the home, or at least multiple aspects if we're talking a really, really big property, at least the aspects that for 100% fact you're going to shoot. So that is the how. The why, and we kind of touched on the why as well. You're going to do this with shoot to edit in mind. So shoot to edit is kind of my mantra, I guess you could say, for how I go about shooting properties. The idea is that you get the walkthrough for the next step. So you get all of the information in the bank of memory that is your brain, and then it's crucial for the next step. So that leads me into what is the next step? That is visualization. What is visualization? Say that time. Oh, I can't even talk. Say that 3 times fast. That's what I wanted to say. What is visualization? Visualization is the act of putting the shots in sequential order and really just kind of getting a flow for that property, getting a flow for how you want to maneuver in that video, because how you think about it is going to directly correlate to how you edit that video. For example, you're not going to shoot the front of the home and then jump straight into maybe the basement. You're gonna shoot the front of the home, and then you're gonna show the foyer, and then you're going to let's say there's a hallway that goes down to, or that runs down to the kitchen, and then it runs into the living room, and there's a bathroom over here that we'll get to, but there's no way to really flow into that bathroom. That's fine. It doesn't need to be I don't know. It doesn't need to all completely line up sequentially and as you're walking through it, but it should have some sort of aspect to it, I guess. So that is what visualization is, how we do it. So this is going to just get better with time. You're not going to have an amazing feel for this right away. It takes some time to really develop how you want a video to look in your head. It sounds crazy, but it's so important, because visualization. Well, actually, I'll get to that in a second. So how you're going to do this? You are going to pick. It kind of comes down to picking the rooms that you're going to shoot, and then you kind of think about how you're going to shoot them. And there are multiple ways of how you actually shoot the rooms, and we'll talk about that later. But how you shoot the rooms is just selecting a shot type. So, and again, that's going to be discussed in the shooting techniques module, or shooting techniques lessons. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. But that explains the how. So you are going to just kind of piece each room together with how you want the video to look and how you want to flow up to the property. So let's just say it's a 2-story house. Let's say it's maybe 2,200 square feet. I'll shoot the outside of the house, I'll shoot the foyer, and then I'll shoot the kitchen, the living room, and then maybe the bathroom is kind of often, nowhere. I'll shoot the bathroom, and let's say all the bedrooms are up top. I might shoot a shot, or I might do a take of the stairs, or if there's a mirror by the stairs, then I'll shoot the mirror of the stairs kind of like as an accent shot. And then that's just kind of telling us, all right, we're going upstairs. So once you go upstairs, then same thing applies. I'm not going to go into a theoretical of where the bedrooms are and where the bathrooms are, all that kind of stuff, but you get the gist. If you're taking a tour of the property, if you're going to show someone the property, and that they're going to be on your hip the whole way, how are you going to explain, okay, this is this room, this is this room, and down that way we have this room? How are you going to do that? And that doesn't stop. This doesn't stop at just at showings. This video is very important to visualize that outcome. I'm almost talking as if I'm flowing throughout the property with myself. But this is so important for how you want the video to look. And I kind of touched on why we do it. So why we do it is the end result is 100% up to your discretion. It's for you to determine. So when you visualize what it's going to look like, and when you actually, execute on those shots, it's going to look like that. And like I said, it's going to get, you're going to get better at this. it's just a matter of time. But this is a very, very, very important step. And you got to keep shoot to edit in mind. But again, you'll get all of this down in a matter of no time. But let's just really quick recap. So walk through, get a feel for the property, understand the entire layout, how you're going to move, and then once you have seen the property, then you piece all of that information together and visualize, visualize what you're going to shoot and how everything is going to look. Getting another low battery sign. And what happens when you don't? This is so important. So when you don't shoot to edit, when you don't walk through, when you don't visualize this stuff, you're going to be blindsided. You're going to be blindsided with different objects in the frame that you didn't really know how to deal with. You're going to be going from left to right, and then right to left, and then left to right, and then right to left. And you're going to be going in and out at weird times. It's just going to look really, really weird. So, and if you go in there with absolutely no angle, no aim, no understanding of where things are, it's just going to completely throw you off in every step of the process. And, shoot to edit's going to go completely out the window. And when you're in the editing room, you're going to be like, what the heck? How do I piece this together? How do I make this smooth? How do I make it transition from this shot to this shot, or this room to this room? You're going to have, your mind's going to be everywhere. So do all these things. And once you perfect this, shooting or actually editing is going to get so much easier. With that being said, this is Mobile Video Mastery. Let's get after it. This video is all about what you need to know about props and lighting. So as you maybe have or may have saw in my last video, I don't do a whole lot of props and lighting personally, but there is a time and place. So let's just get right into it. I am no expert. I would highly suggest, if you are super interested in using props or super interested in using lighting, I would just go out and search a YouTube tutorial. That's one thing that I'm going to defer to other people, because I personally don't have much experience doing it, because I've found it just to be more or less efficient, time consuming, and not really worth the hassle, I guess. But with that being said, there is a time and place. In my experience, very limited. So where they can be useful. Okay. Where they can be useful. So let's say you have a super high-end property. So let's just say it's for my area, that's going to be anywhere north of like 900K. So let's say you have a $2.5 million property, and you have a countertop that is, maybe it's like a white marbly countertop, super nice kitchen, and maybe it seems like there's a lot of open space. What you could do is you could set up maybe some sort of fruit basket or candles or bottles of liquor or wine or whatever. You could set that up right in the middle, and that could be a really cool accent shot. So that's just an example of what props could be. That could, it could be whatever you want. If something comes to your mind, maybe it's, a mason jar with some flowers in it, or, it could, or maybe it's one of those big ice buckets with a bottle of champagne or something. It can be, like I said, it could really be anything. But that, and again, it all comes down to creative control and, creative expressiveness. How do you want to stand out? How do you want to make the video undeniably yours? That is completely up to you. So, and maybe you have a certain prop that you bring with you on every single shoot, and you try to get in there as your motif, or whatever you want to call it. So again, that's up to you. That is props. And now let's talk just a tiny bit about lighting. So we briefly talked about this in the last video too, but if you have a room that's super dark and you crank up all the lights and for some reason it's still pretty dark, there's no windows, maybe the lights it's just not bright enough, or maybe the light is not functioning, which I think has to be changed before closing if it's a real estate deal. Anyway, this might be a situation where you bring light. So if you're going to view the property before you shoot the property, definitely take note of that and bring lighting package, I guess you could say, to the shoot, and make sure you expose it properly. Obviously, you're going to try to you're not going to get the lighting in, like the lighting stand and the lighting box. You're not going to get that in the video. You're going to do everything to avoid that. But that is one use case for lighting. Now, what I do for lighting, personally, I will go throughout the entire property, as a part of my walkthrough process. I flip on every single light, literally every single light that is in the entire house, the entire building, whatever it is. I'm clicking every single light on. Now, some people don't do this because there are some homes where the light might be warmer, but that's why I just make sure I adjust my white balance. Make sure I adjust my white balance in my camera. So, as I mentioned, Blackmagic Cam, that is going to be your best bet for an app that will allow you a lot more control over your camera, and white balance is included in that. So if you want to level up your mobile filmmaking, I would highly recommend getting Blackmagic Cam, because if you have all those lights on and they're not LEDs, I don't know, maybe they're just older lights, then you might get a little bit warmer tones. In that case, you're going to want to lower that Kelvin. When you lower the Kelvin, then it appears bluer. If you raise the Kelvin, it gets a little warmer. So I should say cooler, not bluer, cooler, but it ends up looking kind of blue. Anyway, that's where lighting and that's where props are, in my opinion, most useful. But again, make the video undeniably yours. It's all up to you, and you can make it, you can do whatever you would like. Whatever you think looks good, go with that. So, little summary, turn on all the lights in the house. Don't do it at night unless you're looking for a twilight shoot, but I would highly recommend not doing it at light with a phone. Cameras you can get away with, because you can crank the ISO up and it doesn't look as bad, but with your mobile phone, don't do it at night, and avoid low light situations or scenarios. Rely on your settings like FPS. Crank your FPS as low as possible, because that means your shutter speed is going to be double your frame rate. So that's also going to be as low as possible. And we know when we have a lower shutter speed, the shutter is going to be open longer, which is accepting more light. So some of those things, it might sound a little foreign to you right now, but it will start, becoming second nature. So, rely on your camera settings. If you have to crank the ISO up, that's fine, but try to avoid it if you can. With that being said, I know this is a shorter one, but this is Mobile Video Mastery. Time to get after it. Welcome to today's video. We're going to be talking about some composition guidelines. So let's just get right into it. So the first is going to be rule of thirds. What is the rule of thirds? The second is leading lines. What are leading lines? How do you use them for your advantage? And third is balance and height. And then double check settings, of course. But please, before we start or before we go forward, share the course. I'm trying to start a revolution, as you guys know. I want you guys in on the vision with me, and yeah, share the course. And warning: this is the most important video in the entire course. Don't skip, don't fast forward, don't jump around, don't do any of that stuff. What I would recommend, put it in 2x speed. I don't talk the fastest sometimes, so yeah, but let's just get right into it. So what is the rule of thirds here? I want to move my head over here for a second. What is the rule of thirds? So the rule of thirds is dividing your screen into 3 equal sections. So you can do this really easy by using the grids. You can do this. You can even do this on, on not a third-party app or whatever. Get those grids in place and then align your subject on one of those lines. So and if it's a horizontal, I guess, plane, then you're going to want to either have your maybe it's you're taking a video of the horizon. You're going to want it either on this line or on this line, where you want everybody's attention to be focused into. So for real estate video, this could be the kitchen. So maybe the kitchen, or like there's a really cool island. Maybe you put that island on that lower third, and or on that like lower third line. So that is the rule of thirds. There's really not a whole lot that goes into it. It just makes the video so much more engaging for some reason. There's actual math and science behind this, believe it or not. So I'm not going to go into that. I'm just explaining that the rule of thirds is very important, especially outside of real estate. So real estate, it still is, important to be aware of, but outside of real estate, lifestyle content, it's a lot more important to be aware of this rule of thirds. So that is the rule of thirds. Now we're going to talk a little bit about leading lines. So leading lines also kind of revolves around some sort of subject, but what these are is vertical lines, like normally straight, but well, yeah, we can get into the exceptions. But pointing your eyes and pointing your focus towards something else. So towards, oops, I covered up lines there. My bad. But it's pointing towards a subject. So let's go through the bottom example first. So you have a dock that leads out to a pretty beautiful view of what looks like mountains. So that dock, as you can see, the left side and the right side are kind of pointing straight towards that mountain, that most, I guess, prominent mountain and peak back there. So that is kind of what they are trying to, I guess, accomplish with that. What I'm surprised about here is they aren't using the rule of thirds in this. It doesn't look like. So that horizon, or yeah, the horizon should be just a little bit higher there. But I digress. It's a beautiful photo. But now let's move to that upper right hand picture right there. So as you can see, that subject is walking across, from one side to the other. It looks like there's some openings there. But all of those pillars, since there are so many of them, it looks like it's going in one direction. Like it looks like it's a line that's pointing straight down. So I don't know if you can see my mouse, but if you can see the bottom of this pillar, that first pillar, and then the bottom of that second pillar, there's a line that goes in between there. And then from the bottom of the second pillar to the bottom of the third pillar, there's a line that goes in between there too. But even if that line wasn't there, your eyes would connect the dots with the bottom of that pillar to the bottom of the very last pillar of the of this building. So those lines, and same is true on that right side there, but the same is, and those lines just kind of direct your attention all the way down. And as you can see in this picture, top left, that's just a visual, I guess, it's just an image showing that like how our brains work, how our how our focus works. I'm gonna get my face on this side. And for real estate video, especially, this is huge. So like if you have a really neat hallway, or maybe you just have like a long hallway that goes to, maybe it's a room on the right, room on the left, a little bit sooner, you can do a take down that hallway, and like that could be a shot. In most cases, hallways aren't showcased, but when you have a hallway that is worth showing off, and if it adds to that next shot, because as I have in here, it curates a little bit of anticipation, a little bit of foreshadowing, because you're going down this hallway, it's like, where am I going to go next? So you can use that to make that next video, that next clip, look really nice. I would do this, like I just said, I would do this with a longer hallway, and then normally that it would be some sort of prominent bedroom. It wouldn't just be any bedroom. It would be, ideally it would be the master. But that's how you can use leading lines for capturing people's engagement, and or capturing people's focus and entertainment, I guess. And now we're going to talk a little bit about balance and height. So I'm going to make myself a little smaller here. Balance and height. All right. And off the jump, you see two photos, and very nice looking photos for the most part. I just have one problem with one of the photos, and this absolutely translates to video too, like the other guidelines as well, but we'll get into it in just a second. So and disregard those arrows on the top pointing to those lighting fixtures. They thought that this was a good photo on the top, and it is a good photo, but they did something very crucial that I'll explain in just a second. So first of all, balance. As you can see, these photos are very well balanced. They're not tilted in any way. That would be an example of what tilted is. So my face is straight like that, and I'm moving my laptop, so my head isn't centered. I probably didn't have to explain that, but just to give you guys a good picture, because I don't have a picture of real estate in here. But yeah, tilted just meaning not not straight. The horizontal axis isn't level. So now that we have those, that out of the way. Oh, well, actually, I'm kind of jumping the gun. If you have the DJI Osmo Mobile 6, you might need to calibrate it every once in a while. I'm not going to go through calibration right now, but what that is when you're in your DJI Mimo app, there's an option to calibrate your gimbal. There's an option to calibrate your gimbal, and there's an option to balance your gimbal. So balance your gimbal first, and then if it's messed up, if it's tilted, because sometimes it is, especially in the low battery situations, your gimbal can start tilting a little bit. So once you get in those situations, calibrate your gimbal, and most of the time it gets resolved it gets resolved right away. So that is how you keep a straight shot. And now this next point here is so pivotal, but most people don't really get it. So, and this photographer didn't really get it either. And I know in some cases you can't do this, but this is height. So in my opinion, you should be right around waist height, but maybe just a little bit above waist height for most shots. And this doesn't stop at the kitchen, but as you can see in that top photo, both in the this right top right cabinet and the top left cabinet, you can kind of see under it. In my opinion, you want to be just a little bit higher than that. So this photo under it did this super well. So obviously on the left hand side, there are some things that they can't be above, and the range up there, you can't be directly above. But they got so low, but they still got above the axis of where those cabinets are. If you're not really following what I'm saying here, the bottom of the cabinet normally has space that, I don't know, in my opinion, doesn't look the best. It's just, sometimes it's not even the same color as the cabinets. Sometimes it's not even the same color as anything. It's just a wooden color. So those you're going to want to be above because you don't want to show that off. Some people get so low and think that that's how it's that's how you should shoot it. I actually couldn't find a good example online about trying to explain what I'm thinking, but this top shot helps you understand that a lot better. But long story short, if there are cabinets there are going to be cabinets in the kitchen. If there's recessed lighting, or if that the bottom of the cabinet doesn't look like the walls of the cabinet and doors of the cabinet, definitely try to stay above that. Don't try to show that off, or try not to show that off. Avoid that at all costs, because it can look, it can throw a shot off a little bit. It's not going to ruin your video, but it's just not going to look the best. So, little recap. The rule of thirds makes photo and video more appealing, a lot more so, and more lifestyle, but it still absolutely applies in real estate. Leading lines engage the viewer and narrow their focus to one subject. It's really that point is you can also use it for anticipation, foreshadowing, so on and so forth. But yeah, it captures their engagement a lot better than going on one side and not being not using those lines to encourage the flow. Calibrate your gimbal, for the love of God. If your phone is tilted whatsoever, please calibrate your gimbal. There's nothing worse than a tilted shot. You can adjust it in the editing room, but first of all, I don't think it looks, well, I guess it kind of does look the same for the most part, but you have to crop in, because you have to you have to crop in. It's hard to explain. But if you've ever taken a sideways shot and leveled the horizon, it cuts out part of your frame. So avoid that at all costs, and always be aware of the height that you film at. All right. So with that being said, share this course. This is Mobile Video Mastery. Time to get after it. Welcome to today's video. We're going to be talking about my mantra, shoot to edit, as well as some other key concepts. So shoot to edit, the importance of visualization, and then finally, we're going to be talking about how you move throughout a property in a progressive way. So this just completely pivotal concepts that you absolutely have to tune into. And yeah, with that being said, share this course. Someone would get so much out of this, as I hope you are. I can't make my impact. I can't, realize this potential with helping people out without your help. So please share this course. And warning, don't skip around, don't fast forward, don't jump ahead. You are going to miss something key, because especially in this video, this is, up until this point, the most important video in the entire course. So pro tip, if you get bored of me, put it in a 2x speed, or maybe at least put it in a 1.5x speed if you're getting bored here. So shoot to edit. What does shoot to edit mean? So this is how I visualize, shooting a property. When I'm shooting a property, I'm thinking, well, what is this going to look like first of all, the final product, but what is this going to look like in the editing room? How am I going to piece this video with the next video seamlessly? So it all flows, it all transitions really well. A lot of people don't think about this, and that's why, quite frankly, a lot of people don't have great video. This is in my opinion, this is one of the biggest, I guess you could say, secrets. As you can see here, it's not exactly a secret in my opinion, but this is one of the secrets that a lot of people miss out on and don't even think about. But just getting a good take is easy. It's not rocket science. It's not going to require too much of you. But getting shot 1 and shot 2 to look nice back to back, that's something that's a lot more difficult, but it's absolutely 100% possible for everybody. They just don't know the shoot to edit mantra. So that is something that will get better over time. It's just a matter of reps. It's a matter of, visualization reps too. It's not just, how many shoots you do. If you visualize the entire property as opposed to, 50% of the property, well, if you think about it on, with those analytics, then it's going to take you 2 times more, 2 times more shoots that you go on if you only visualize 50% of the, 50% of the shots that you take. So visualize everything. Visualize exactly how you're going to go through the entire property. And when you're actually shooting, make sure you're thinking of that next shot. You have that next shot in mind. But you can't forget about the shot before, because that is, that's the shot before, the shot you're taking, the shot after. That's all that matters at any given time. So, yeah, 2 shots ago doesn't matter. 2 shots in the future doesn't matter. But the shot that you're taking right now, the shot that you just took, and the shot that you're going to take, you need to make sure that you know exactly where you're going with your footage. So that is my explanation of shoot to edit. So here is just a really quick example of how I shoot to edit. So as you can see, there's this receptionist desk right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go behind that board right there. So I don't know if you saw that. I'm going to go behind that board as I'm finished with my shot. So I show off, the receptionist desk, show off, and then boom, I quickly move my camera behind that board, and then I start here. I'll see if I can, right there. So I'll move my camera behind that board, and then this is already the second shot. So this second shot, I started behind the board, and I finished with showing off something, after the board, like the bathroom. Obviously, I didn't show off the bathroom, but I showed off that you can go down that hallway to the bathroom. So now we are going to talk a little bit about progressive shooting. So, have you ever watched a video like this? I am going to, once again, exit presentation, and we are going to watch this video together. And sorry, it keeps switching, to this, but anyway. Okay. What do you think about that video? Personally, I think it I think it lacks a direction, and it keeps going from one side to the other side to the other side to the other side. It just keeps going back and forth from, you know, going from left to right to right to left. So let's just watch it again. So right there, it went from one side, like it panned one way and then it panned the other way. So first of all, Kathy Morales, I hope I didn't butcher your name. It's a beautiful property, and it's not a bad video. And video in itself is better than nothing. I'm just trying to point out how to make your videos kind of next level. So I am going to show you a video of mine, and just kind of see what you guys think. So there are some times in this video where I didn't keep that that idea. I obviously was thinking shoot to edit the whole time. That's pretty much second nature for me at this point. But I didn't keep this progressive direction in mind. So we're gonna watch this right now. So there was one of the times where I broke that direction continuity with, so as you can see there's that love seat right there. I went from that behind that into the bathroom, so I was going from right to left. And now doing this shot, I go, I'm panning from left to right. So let's just keep on with the video. All right. So I don't know if you could tell any sort of a difference, but that is progressive. This probably should have been called, a progressive direction, because you want to feel like you just keep moving forward, like you keep, going forward sequentially in time, as opposed to some of these other videos where it's noticeably just like, all right, I'm showing you this room, now I'm showing you this room, and now I'm showing you a room over here, and there's not a great sense of flow. So that is my experience with progressive shooting. I wish my face, my face camera was on right now, because I don't know, I'm very passionate about this topic in specific. But anyway, just to give you a little recap, we're going to recap without I don't know if I can do that. All right. So just think to yourself always, when you're going through a property, shoot to edit, shoot to edit, shoot to edit. Whenever you are, oops, okay. Yeah, whenever you're thinking, well, how am I gonna match this shot up? You don't have to press record right away. You don't always have to be recording. Think about that last shot, how you're gonna pair it together with this shot, and then think about where you're going after. And like I said, you don't have to just always be shooting. You can take a step back and think and be intentional with where you're going, with what shot you're taking, and eventually you're just going to get so good at this that it a thought doesn't even come into your mind. Like the shoot to edit doesn't even come to your mind because you're just thinking about that last shot, and you're like, all right, how do I make this look good? And then you're going to take that shot, and then you're going to transition nicely into the next shot. And finally, be aware of the direction. This is so important because I feel like when you're if you're panning from one side to the other, and then you pan from the opposite side to the other side, I just feel like that just looks so clunky and so, I don't know, static and not dynamic. I think the best way to go or get around that is have a direction that you normally pan. So if you are coming into a bedroom, for example, you're going to start behind the left wall and then show off the bedroom. Obviously, with the bedroom coming into frame, that would be coming in from the right, or I guess coming in from the left. Forget I just said that. But you'd be behind the left wall, and then you'd show off the bedroom coming in from that left side there. And then the next shot that you would take, you would pretty much match it up. So you are, you're coming in from that left side again, and it just feels like it's all moving in the same direction and not going, going the opposite direction. Anyway, that is direction, that is shoot to edit, that is visualization. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is Mobile Video Mastery. Time to get after it. Welcome to the second video in the shooting techniques portion. This video is going to be all about the shots that you must master to get really good real estate video. So first of all, you've heard me say it time and time again, and I'll continue to say it. Make the video undeniably yours. This is the video that's going to allow you to do that. This video is going to unlock your potential and creativity for different shots. If you get comfortable with these 5 shots, you will be setting yourself up for, once again, really, really good video. So what shots are we going to go over? We are going to be going over the push in shot, the pull out shot, get your hat out of the gutter, the pan shot, side movement, and tilts. So first we're going to go over these. Once you master these, then we'll get into the advanced shots. So the advanced shots, it's going to be in the next video, but just to let you know where we're going, that's the case. And we're going to get into, we're going to hop into Instagram. Forewarning, I think this, Instagram doesn't allow Loom to show face recording. So for some reason, I'm not going to be able to do that. But before we go into that, please share the course. As you guys know, I'm trying to start a revolution of amazing real estate marketing, amazing real estate service. I have such a grand vision with this. I can't possibly get to the reach that I want to get to without you. So share this course. It'll help someone else. It'll help someone else out too. And warning, this is the most important video in the entire course. Don't skip, don't fast forward, don't jump around, don't do any of that kind of stuff. Stick with me, tune in, and if you want to, put in 2x speed. you're going to save yourself a lot of time. So before we go into the push in, well, we'll go into push in and then we'll go into side movement and all of that. But what we're going to be covering, how it looks, how to perform, and when to perform, when to use. Now we're going to go over to Instagram and check out not a video of mine, but a video of, I think it's Gimbal King. So we're going to start with this push in here. So as you can see, he is, well, I'll explain. First of all, we're going to talk about how to, or what it looks like, and then we'll get into how to perform. And then I'll tell you later when I think it's best used. So just keep in mind, well, look at this top screen first. So as you can see, he was zooming in that entire time, and he was just keeping the vertical and horizontal axis leveled, and he was just walking straight forward, and that is essentially how you accomplish that shot. And now he's going to be going into the pull back. So this time I would I would watch this bottom screen here to see how he does that. All right, new plan. We are gonna watch. We're gonna watch this video on Instagram, and just to show you how every single shot looks. So we're gonna be going over all of the shots and watch how they look first, and then I'll give you a little recap, and then we're gonna go into how to perform, and then after that we're gonna get out of Instagram, and then I am going to summarize each take and talk about when to use. So let's just get right into it. So now we are going to watch this video that is going to show us all of those movements that we're going to learn, and the beginner shots that we're going to master. And you're going to see one shot in here called the level change. I don't personally like this for a beginner shot. I actually have this in the advanced shots, but just with a little bit of a twist. But yeah, you'll see what I mean. The level change is not exactly, rocket science, but I don't think it's a great beginner shot. I think these shots will get you by. I've used the level change, like the basic level change, maybe once or twice when I'm out on shoots. I can think of once for sure, but yeah. Anyway, useful shot, but we're gonna get into how each shot looks. So make sure you keep an eye on this top section here. The bottom section is going to be how to perform. So don't worry about that now. We'll go through that, but keep an eye on that top section and we'll get into it. So the first is side movement. The second is push in, and he calls it pull back. The third, I believe, is level change, and then I think he gets into tilts. And yeah, I think that may be it. All right, so let's just get into it, and keep an eye on that that top screen. So as you can see, he has level change. Well, he has so he has the side movement, which he's doing in this shot actually. Side movement, push in, pull back, level change, and then tilt up and then tilt down. So he has tilt up and tilt down as two different ones. I kind of like to rope it into the same thing because the mechanism for how you're going to accomplish that is pretty much the same. But now we know how to perform, or now we know how they look. Now let's watch a little bit about how they are performed. And I know that he goes through it pretty quickly, but if you have to rewatch this, definitely do so. So just watch this bottom screen here. He's going to be moving the camera from his left to his right. And this is going to be a good example. So now he's holding the camera sideways and he's just walking back. I don't like that as much as, walking sideways, but that's just, that's just the way that I do it. You'll get a feel for it. And now we're going into push in and pull back. So he's keep in mind he's just keeping the horizontal axis level, the vertical axis level. Like all axes are just locked and stabilized, and he's just going to walk forward or walk back. That's pretty much all he's doing here. So let's just watch him really quick. All right, now he's going to get into level change. Again, I wouldn't worry about this, but I think the setting that you would put your gimbal on is tilt locked for this, because that means when you move your camera down, that level doesn't change. It still wants to look forward. So I think that's what he's going to do. If you want to try this, you can, but I'm not going to go into it because, again, I don't use it. I don't think it's necessary for beginners. But yeah, we'll watch it here. And then tilt up. So I don't know if he is going to show any sort of back end of this, but he's going to have his hand on the joystick. So, or his finger on the joystick. So as he's doing a push in, he's going to be pressing up on the joystick, making his camera slowly rise. So I actually think that this is more of an advanced shot too, but I guess, I don't know. For him, I think it's important to, try to at least practice this. But yeah, yeah. So this is the tilt up. Just keep an eye on this bottom screen, as per usual, and yeah, and we kind of overlapped a good bit of this already. So it's going to be going into straight into tilt down. So for that, inversely, you would just hold the joystick down, tilting the camera down, starting from an elevated view. So just keep an eye on that. We'll go through this all again. I know you probably don't have to at this point, but yeah, we'll go through all of this again and watch the video through and through. And by the way, I will be linking Gimbal King's Instagram in the description of this video, as well as in the course material. So if you want to follow him, which I would absolutely recommend, you can do so. All right. So it looks like he wasn't using the joystick, but that's just kind of, I don't know. That's just kind of up to you. It looked like he was just using camera movement and maybe the um, locking the tilt. But yeah, all right. Let's just watch this again through and through. You can tune out for this section if you want, but if you're going to do so, tune back in like 30 seconds. All right, I just put that video there so you can pause, rewind, and you can watch that video over and over to to your heart's content, and you can see what he's doing, see how he's accomplishing it. Obviously, he has a camera and a more robust gimbal, but it will absolutely work with, the takeaways are literally exact. But anyway, so we went through how it looks, we went through how to perform. Now let's talk about when to use. So remember, we're going to talk about this push-in shot first. When I use the push-in shot, typically is at that first third of the video when I am kind of establishing that we're at this property. Now we are, and especially outside for like an exterior approach shot, because that is like signaling, oh, we're getting to this place. And now, that just establishes that we are arriving into this place. We are arriving into this video, and we can expect to, I don't know, it sets the stage for a progressive feel, a flowy feel to the rest of the video, because you're not going to, like, if you have a pull out or a pull back out of a property, like it almost signals that you're leaving. And if the next video is you inside, it's just kind of weird. So push in for establishing shots. So establishing bedrooms, maybe establishing your way into a room. I think that's a great use of the push in. And definitely when you first get to the shoot. So that is tips and tricks of the whole gamut of the push in shot. Now we're going to be talking about the pull out shot, the pull back shot. So again, we went through how it looks, how to perform. When do I use? So the pull or the push in shot, like I said, I use to establish that we're arriving. So if you think about the pull out shot, think about what we're doing, what that is signaling to the viewer, what the viewer feels when you're pulling out of the shot. So I like to think of this as kind of an exit. So as I do the pull or the push in shot of the exterior, so the exterior approach shot is a push in. Sometimes I will take that exact video and I'll just reverse it and put a fade to black transition, and it will, the first part of the video is going to be it pulling in, and that last video is going to be, coming up close and then showing more and more and more of the property until we are like almost out of the driveway, basically. And then that also creates a looping mechanism with the end of that video being the same as the first part of the first part of the video. That, I don't know, because it's that same clip, it just kind of looks like it almost rubber bands back into motion. Anyway, that's when I use pull out shots. I don't use them almost at all like in the middle of the shoot. Yeah, I really don't use them at all. If I use a pull out shot, I might pull out and then do a complete 180. So let's say I'm in a hallway and I'm leaving a bedroom to go to a living room, and let's say it's kind of like a split design home, I guess you could say. So as soon as you walk in, there is kind of like one half over here, one half over here, like a ranch style, whatever. So if I start on one side, maybe I'll do that pull out in the hallway after I'm done with one side, and then I'll save the living room for then. So like I'll do a pull, and this is kind of the one of the advanced tricks. You don't have to This can go in one ear, out the other, but I just want you to hear it because it's relevant to the pull-out shot. So what you're going to do is you're going to kind of backpedal, and then you're going to stop, and then you're going to try to get your camera kind of close to that wall so it fades it fades to black a little bit, and then you'll do a full 180, and then you'll just try to do a push-in shot of whatever whatever you're going into. So maybe that's a living room, whatever. But that's how I would do that, and then I'd mess with that in the editing room a little bit. But that can be an amazing use of the pull out shot. But again, I don't use it in the middle of the shoot. I only really use it at the end where I'm pulling out to show off the exterior and signal that we're leaving. So that is the pull out shot, or as Gimbal King calls it, pullback shot. Now we're going to be talking about pan. So pan wasn't even in that video that we saw. I don't know if you picked up on that, but pan it's very simple. So I don't use these okay. I won't talk about when I use these. I want to look. Oh my gosh. I want to talk about how it looks really quick. So if you have ever taken a panorama photo, you know that you start here and you just slowly try to stay on that line, and you pretend that you are the axis. You as the axis are not moving. You are locked, and you're just rotating. So that is what a pan is. So a pan is okay, in this case, this is the axis. You're just going like this. And it doesn't look very dynamic, but there are some use cases for it. So, okay, we went through how it looks, how to perform. When I use these shots, the only time I'll use this shot is when I am in a small room and there really isn't much room for me to move around. So if I can't, like if I'm showing off, maybe it's a bathroom or an office space. As some of you know, I did a commercial building a little bit ago, and so that's actually in the fourth module. You can check that out. But I did a commercial building, and there was one office where I couldn't move almost at all. I did some side movement shots, which we'll get into in just a second, but I couldn't move almost at all. So what I ended up doing is I took a couple pans because, as you know, I need one shot that I feel like I absolutely nail, and I need one or two shots that I know for a 100% 100% chance are passable. Passable meaning that would be fine. I could make that work in the editing room, but I don't want to use that because I want my shot that I feel like I nailed. That might be a little bit speculative. I want that to work out. But there are some cases where you just take a simple pan and you say, all right, that is good, and move on. So again, small rooms, that's a really good time to use the pan shot. But I can't think of any other times where you'd use the pan if you don't add something to it, which we'll actually get into in a little bit. Well, next video. All right. Side movement. This is my favorite shot. This is for sure 100% my favorite shot. I use this during the bulk of the video, like the meat and potatoes, not the leaving the property, not the getting to the property. I almost always use this. I mean, I almost always use this shot in like almost every room. Like I almost always get at least one take of side movement in almost every single room. It's crazy, but it looks so good, and it's so nice looking when you pair that up with another side movement shot, especially if you can get some, uh, some sort of subject to transition behind. So, like, let's say camera here, wall here. So you do a side movement shot, and then you cover that camera, and then say that this is the camera. And then you start the next shot, and then you go into frame, and you can see what, like, the subject that you want, and you can take that shot that went behind here, and the subject, or the shot that started behind, and you can pair that up really nicely with, in the editing room. So that is one of the biggest use cases for side movement. Whenever shoot to edit, obviously shoot to edit's almost always in my mind, but whenever I'm thinking of, how do I make this work together with this other room, side movement is almost a fail-safe. So just to remind you how it looks, it's not moving forward, not moving backward, no axis is being tilted or misconstrued or whatever, and you're just going from one side to the other, and it just, it shows off, you know just as if it's on a slider meaning like a track. It's just shooting like this. So that is how it looks, and like I said, I use this almost all the time. This is easily my favorite shot. I'm trying to think of specific examples. So one specific example, into a bedroom. I think this is one of my favorites. So you'll start on, let's say, the left side of the door frame, and then you'll just move sideways, and it'll go from out of focus and dark to into focus and, bright and beautiful, and the bedroom is going to be showed off really well. But then when you're done with that shot, you can put your camera behind the left door or the right door frame, and start your shot of, let's say this is the master bedroom. You can then put your camera. You can start your camera on the left, behind the left door frame of the master bathroom, and then show the bathroom off. And then you can, that's just an example of what you could do. Obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously, but you're probably not going to only do one take of the bedroom, the master bedroom. But again, just something to think about. Like, that is just an example of how you make this shot come to fruition, how to make this shot happen with shoot to edit in mind. So this is side movement. Side movement is just absolutely monumental to master. You can do accent shots with this too. I think this looks great with accent shots. All right, I talked a lot about side movement, so let's get on to tilts. So tilts, if you remember, is kind of a push in with a tilt up, or a push in with a tilt down. So this looks great for approach shots, but you can do it in some other situations too. So like hallways, in the middle of a home, if you're trying to show off a pretty cool lighting fixture, you can go down a hallway, tilt up to the lighting fixture. Or let's say you're in a really cool foyer area. Pretend that you are in a home that is very grand. There are staircases that, in the movies, there are those, Great Gatsby style places where the stairs are going up on either side of you with kind of like leading up to a balcony. And then there's like an open area in the middle. I don't know if you can, you know what, I'm going to pull up a picture. This is exactly what I was thinking. So I just want to explain when you could maybe use a tilt down. So when you are entering this property, let's say you focus on that light fixture up there. Instead of tilting up that way, you could actually start by tilting, like you could do a tilt down, and then you could keep walking until you get to those French doors or whatever whatever the heck those are. You could have those open and you can show off outside. So just an idea there, for a tilt down. Let's see. Let's pretend we're going to do a tilt down on this. So maybe you have accomplished everything you want on this main level. Obviously, you can see there are stairs here, so it looks like there's an upstairs. Let's say you're done with everything on the main floor. So you could turn on those lights up there and you could do a tilt down to reveal those stairs. So that could be your foreshadowing shot for flowing upstairs. Just an idea there. So, all right, we talked about tilts up and tilts down. Let's see here. What else do we have in the bank? All right. Recapping all of the shots. I'm not going to because I feel like I nailed every single one, down. I hope you guys have a good picture of what these shots entail, what they look like, how to perform them, when to perform them. And yeah, if you haven't followed Gimbal King already, I'd check him out. He has a lot of really solid advice with gimbals. His humor is a little raunchy, as you could maybe tell from that video, but I'm not going to criticize his humor. He has amazing tutorial videos. But yeah, with that being said, I think I covered everything with regards to what they are, where they're used, and how they're performed. If you have any questions, always check out that community. Join that community if you haven't already. I'll have a link in the description here. This is Mobile Video Mastery. That is how to be an expert at all of the beginner shots that you absolutely need. With that being said, get after it. All right, this video is going to be about the advanced shots that you should probably know if you want to make a really cool real estate video. You can do it with all of the beginner shots I've mentioned in the last video, but these are just going to elevate your videos a lot more in special purposes. So let's get right into it. So first of all, make the video undeniably yours. This is going to absolutely set you on the right track. If you master the video or the shots in the video before, and if you master all of these, you are going to have a lot of creative expressiveness, as some like to call it. But with that being said, these are going to be some very difficult shots. So sometimes, I'll have to take these multiple times to get a really good one sometimes. So keep that in mind. But with that being said, these are some really, really powerful shots. So this is a list of 5 shots that you are going to be happy that you have in your toolkit. So the crane shot, the drift shot, the speed ramp, the hyperlapse or time lapse, and spin shots. So with that being said, share the course. I can't do it without you. I want to, as you guys know, I have a pretty grand vision with this. I want to start a revolution of amazing real estate service as well as marketing. And I simply can't make the reach without you. So share this course. Someone will appreciate you for doing so. And warning, this is the most important video up until this point in the entire course. So don't skip, don't jump around, don't fast forward, none of that. But I will say you can put it in 2x speed. Sometimes I don't talk too fast. Put it in 2x speed, save yourself some time, and let's get into it. So the crane shot, how it looks, how to perform, and when to use. So we'll start off with how it looks. So we're going to start off with some history on this shot. So the reason why they call it a crane shot is because in movie productions, they actually have a camera on a crane doing this crazy movement. And what this movement looks like is, so a camera right here, it generally rotates as well as elevates, or I guess maybe, so rotation and elevation. So we are going to watch a quick video. This is the best video I could find on it. And again, so Instagram is going to block my camera, just so you know, but I'll let you know when the crane comes. That sounds kind of weird to say. So that's a tilt up. This is, I guess, kind of a tilt down and pull back. And this is a crane shot right here. So you could see the start of the movement. He is walking forward, so you have movement and you have rotation and you have elevation. So all of that at the same time creates this really cool crane shot. So watch the rest of this. So it wasn't very long, but you could see he was walking forward, he was elevating, and he was rotating. So again, these are not beginner shots by any stretch of imagination. And that this is also kind of a crane shot, but he's locking his tilt. So as you can see, it's his camera isn't level with the horizon. This isn't a true tilt or a true crane shot. A true crane shot would keep that horizon leveled. And then he just gets into some different shots that aren't what we are looking to really learn about right now. So that is how the crane shot looks, and as you can see kind of by how he was walking, how to perform. But my best advice for this is learn master the push and shot. By now you should have the push and shot mastered, but this is also going to take some joystick control, unless you're going to put your gimbal in a setting where you are just going to, you're just going to move it for that, I guess, for that rotation. But you can do it either way, however it works best for you. But first, master that push-in shot, then get the elevation, and then get the rotation. So once you have push-in shot, then you have the level change. I didn't go into that, but I guess that is kind of important for, that's an important step to master before you get into a crane shot. But push-in shot plus a level change plus, I guess, a pan. So just some rotation. You're going to do that all at one time. And, that's going to look, obviously it looked really cool for that living room. Again, special purpose. I don't use this a whole lot, but when I do, it generally looks pretty cool. So that is the crane shot and how to perform, when to use. Again, it's very special purpose. Now let's talk about the drift. So the drift, this one is one of my favorites, but again, I don't use it very often. I think this is best used for exteriors, but I'll get into that in just a second. So how it looks, let's go right back into Instagram. All right, so this is the drift. So those first two shots were the drift. And here, I'm going to go back. Okay, so you could kind of see there, it looked like, the subject was obviously in staying in place, but when he was going around it, it was almost as if the camera was locked on, but there was also side movement. So there's side movement, and there is an aspect of that camera following that subject from one side to the other. So it's not just, the camera is just locked going like that. So now pretend that the camera is like, looking at my face. So it'll go like that, and then it'll go like that. So that is a horrible, horrible example, but hopefully you caught the gist of that. It's going to be side movement plus some sort of rotation following a subject. So hopefully that made some sense there. So that covers how to perform and when to use. So again, I think this is really cool for exterior shots or big spaces like big living rooms, maybe just large spaces or really cool, I guess, subjects. So maybe this is a kitchen island. I think that would be really cool. I've never used it like that, but I think that would make for a really cool video. Again, this takes a lot of space. So if you have a really big room, maybe consider this shot. So that covers the drift. Now let's talk, well, before we talk a little about the speed ramp, let's talk about the hyperlapse and kind of rope those into each other. So I am going to show you a hyperlapse first, and then I will talk about the speed ramp. So hopping back into Instagram, we are going to watch one of my videos. This shot is going to be super, super quick, and unfortunately, I can't rewind. So if you want to rewind, I would highly encourage you to do so. It's going to be the shot directly after this shot. So I approached this storm door, and now I'm exiting. So I'm actually doing a push in to, before we leave the property. But this is towards the end of my shoot, towards the end of the video. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to track the home and walk a little arc around the property, and you'll see kind of what this accomplishes in just a second. So, and again, this comes quick, so feel free to rewind. Here we go. So, as you can see, I just quickly zipped around that side of the house, so that back side of the house. I just walked an arc, and this is where I did have my gimbal. So I was walking straight, but I had my camera and my gimbal. I was holding it sideways, but I had one of these doors on the outside. I had that tracked with active track. Well, I think I actually selected it, um, but yeah, then I used active track to keep that focus, or the subject in focus, that entire time. And then I don't think that was a hyper. I think that was actually a speed ramp, but um, it looks more like a hyperlapse than it does a speed ramp. So that's why I showed it to you. But we are going to get into speed ramps. And well, I guess let's talk a little bit more about when to use. So when to use, I think this is great for exterior, and we're talking hyperlapse and speed ramps, or hyperlapse and time lapse. Oh my gosh. I think this is good for exterior, but I don't think I don't think it's necessary to use it almost any other time when you're doing real estate videography. How you perform this movement. So it's kind of up to you. It's more of a speed modification than it is a shot type and a walking pattern or a gimbal movement. But you can use this in I like to use this. Pretty much the only reason I would ever use this is exterior. I'm just going to say it that way. But speed ramps is much different. Speed ramps, this is where, I use speed ramps in just about, I use speed ramps in every single video. Like every video that I use, or every video that I do, there are multiple speed ramps. And you'll see that in just a second. So now we're going to hop back into Instagram. I'm going to show you one of my videos, and we will just experience the whole video together, and I'll pause it at various spots, and I'll show you exactly what I'm thinking. So let's get out of this video and let's get in this video. All right. So that is even an example of a speed ramp. So I just sped it up just a little bit. So the cadence was, you know, I guess as I imagine. But yeah, let's just keep on with the video. Okay, so there's going to be a speed ramp here too. So right in the middle, this is accomplished by doing something in the editing room that we'll talk about in the next module. But just keep in mind, or just watch this middle part. It just speeds up really quick, and then I get into another shot, and then I'm not going to stop it until we get into that bedroom right over there, that red bedroom, and then we will, no, we'll concur, or what is it? Reconvene. All right, so that last shot was also a speed ramp. It just, it was kind of just a basic pan, and then I did a push in, and then I just sped up that push in, so it looked kind of dynamic when I was then doing a little bit of a pan into the bedroom. So let's get back into our presentation here. So that is the speed ramp. So this is accomplished in the editing room. This isn't a shot type, but the reason why I included it in shooting techniques is because you are going to have to be aware that this is a shot that you're designing your shot around the fact that that is going to be a speed ramp. So when I was doing that shot down the hallway, out of the living room, through the hallway into the bedroom, I didn't have I didn't have it in my mind that I wasn't going to speed it up at all. When I was thinking about that shot, I was like, okay, when after I pan out of this, I'm going to just make sure that this is smooth because this is all going to be fast, and then I'm going to slow it down when I get into that bedroom, and that's exactly what I did. So that is how you have to kind of think about the speed ramp, because that is going to directly impact how how that shot looks. So that is part of that shoot to edit idea that you always have to have in your head, because when you go into, if you want to make one of these speed ramps, you have to kind of think, well, where is it going to speed up? Where is it going to slow down? Okay, now I'll take that shot. So that's why walking through, that's why visualization, that's why shooting to edit, all of those things have to be very, at the forefront of your mind when you're thinking about how you're going to make a really, really nice real estate video. So that is speed ramps. Now what we're going to talk about is the spin shot, if my thing would go forward. So the spin shot, this one, Transparently, I've never used, but I think it does look kind of cool. I will hop back into Instagram again. All right, so as you can see here, the horizontal axis is completely wonky, and that is by design. So what you're going to do is you are going to, well, here, I'll just show you what the spin shot looks like, and then I'll get into how to perform. So that is literally all the spin shot looks like. What you can do is if you zoom in to, that spot, maybe you can keep on going in that axis and, get to a full 360 and try to make a cool transition out of that. That is completely beyond me. I don't like doing that. So what I would recommend if you want to do this is go to the last setting, so the fourth setting on your gimbal. And when you get into that, you're just going to use the joystick to move your gimbal. And this is accomplished with a push in shot. So once you push in, you're gonna hold that joystick, and that is going to accomplish the look you are going for. All right, really quick summary because I am probably at like 4% by now. We went over the crane shot, the drift shot, the speed ramp, hyperlapse, and spin shot. We went through what they are, where they're used, how they're performed, and some more. So if you have any other questions, check out Gimbal King, the Gimbal King Instagram, or check out my Instagram and kind of analyze each shot and see what you like, see what you want to see what you like, see what you want to take out of it. And with that being said, this is Mobile Video Mastery. It's time to get after it. Welcome into one of the most important videos in the entire course, which is the art of shooting engaging B-roll. So a couple topics that we're going to be covering is how to shoot really nice B-roll in real estate, how to shoot really engaging B-roll in lifestyle videography. So this could be cinematic films apart from real estate, just to spice things up, just to change things up a bit. And then what is vert stacking? So we'll go into all of that, but not before you share the course. Share the course. As you guys know, I'm trying to create a revolution of real estate marketing, an amazing real estate service. So I can't do it without you. But with that being said, let's go on to the warning. This is the most important video in the entire course. Don't skip around. Don't fast forward. Don't do any of that kind of stuff. Don't jump around because you are going to want to pay attention to this entire video. And with that being said, put it into 2x speed. Sometimes I don't talk the fastest, and let's get right into it. So let's just talk about real estate B-roll first. So I like to consider these accent shots. So this could be a multitude of different things. This could be some cool decor, but actually we'll go into that in a second. So examples, how to, and tips and tricks. So let's talk about examples first. So this could be really cool decor. This could be lighting fixtures, faucets, just any item that stands out. This could be, a block of knives that looks really nice, or if you recognize the brand, if you know the brand is really nice, you could do an accent shot of that. Or let's just say you are in the kitchen and you see really, really nice appliances, like Gaggenau appliances. That'd be something to definitely showcase if they're included in the sale. So lots of stuff like that really, really sets a video apart. If there's an accent shot of something that just looks, I don't know, amazing. Or like if you sprinkle a couple of these in there. So those are examples of items that you can take accent shots of and how you're going to perform this. So you are going to take your camera off of the wide angle, go into the 1x zoom, so the regular camera, and you are just going to, if that's not zoomed in enough, maybe zoom in just a little bit more. That's totally fine. And then you are just going to experiment with the shot type. So I like using side movement, the side movement shot for all of my accent shots. I shouldn't say all, but most of my accent shots. Sometimes I'll do just the tiniest bit of a pan, and I'll put this in 60 frames per second, and I'll slow it down. So I'll just pan just a tiny bit, just so there's like a little bit of movement, just to establish that it's a video and not just a photo. Like that's how little movement you want in this shot. So there's tons of different ways that you can actually take accent shots, but that is kind of, that's one way that you can make the video undeniably yours, is those accent shots. So I'm not going to go too far into depth of how to, because it really is up to you and what you think looks the best. All right, and now tips and tricks. One interesting way that I spice my videos up is every once in a while I will include what's called a vert stack. So we'll go through that in just a second. But yeah, vert stacks are pivotal for well, I guess it's not crucial to have vert stacks in there, but I think it really elevates your video if you have one or maybe two in there. Include movement, but don't overuse these accent shots. It's not meant to be your real estate video. It's supposed to, as accent shots, as accent kind of symbolizes, it's supposed to accent the room. So do one or two takes of the room, put an accent shot in there, and then use another video of that room and maybe transition out. So it's not supposed to be your real estate video. It's supposed to accompany your real estate video, if that makes any sense. So don't overuse. People want to experience the scale of the property, the grandeur, I guess you could say, in some cases. So don't overuse. So as I just mentioned, vert stacking. What is vert stacking? So some of you may have seen videos that are shot horizontally, but there are three on top of each other. That's all I'm going to say for now, and then we'll get into that, not in the next slide, but the slide after. So let's talk a little about lifestyle. So this can really elevate your social media content, not just your real estate videos. You can put lifestyle, you can mix lifestyle and real estate videos. That's totally fine. But just to give you a little bit of variety, this is going to elevate your social media and really spice up your brand. So how do you accomplish this? Well, there are multiple ways of taking engaging lifestyle B-roll. So one of my favorites is transportation. So transportation could be getting into your car. It could be getting out of your car, or getting walking into a storefront. And I'll have some examples in a second. It could be a video of a train. So like it could be like a video locked off on your tripod or on your gimbal, but just not moving. And it could be a video of a train going by. Or there are a lot of different ways to incorporate this B-roll, but as long as it's accompanying your story and not being your story. So one, I think I have a little chronological thing here. So getting in and out of your car. So start by, put the gimbal outside of your door, open your door, get in your car, and close the door. And then what you're going to do is you're going to open your door, grab your camera, grab your gimbal, put it inside. And then maybe you have once you get to the store, you have your camera, you get outside, put your camera outside, and then you open the door, you shut the door, and then now you transition, you transition very nicely from going into your car and then getting out of your car. Maybe in between there you have one shot of the transportation, your commute to the store. So now you have walking into the store. So you'll have, maybe you'll put it right behind the door, or like, I don't know, maybe 10-15 feet away from the door, and you'll just open the door, walk in, and you'll let the door shut, and then you'll walk out. I know this sounds really tedious. It is, but it makes for some really good video. So that's why I want to keep it in here. So walk into a storefront, you have to go in, and then you have to go out, and then you have to go back in. Now these ones are a little bit easier. So this one, this one I think would look really, really cool in, let's just say you're walking into a bookstore. So put the gimbal on one side of the aisle, like as far back as possible, because you want to create these leading lines to you making a selection maybe in the middle of the aisle or at the end of the aisle. So you'll be looking at these books or movies or whatever, and there's going to be that establishing shot of you down the way. And then you're going to have, maybe there's a place where you can set your gimbal where, on some sort of shelf or something like that. And then you're just going to zoom into your face, and you can use the rule of thirds with this shot. I think that would look awesome. But all of this kind of takes a little bit of intuition to grasp, but hopefully you're kind of understanding the layout. And then this could be you taking your gimbal, taking your phone off the gimbal, putting it in your pocket or your purse or whatever the case may be. And then you hold your camera as you're putting the book on the, what's it called? On the counter. So that would be from your point of view. And then you switch that camera around, and you have the camera facing yourself, and you're just like kind of waving goodbye to them, and they could maybe read your lips saying thank you, and wishing them a good day. So that is that's just an example of, I guess a film, but all of this stuff is very accessory, if that makes any sense. So that's just all accessory to your story. So those are just some examples, and this is, all of that could be B-roll for a video that you're talking in. So let's say it's a vlog. You can put all of those topics, that can be your B-roll, and the vlog, you talking, that's your A-roll. So just some ideas there. And then other transit, like I said, video of maybe the subway, coming in. If you're in a bigger city, the subway coming in and coming to a stop, or maybe it's a subway zooming by, or like there's tons of different ways that you can incorporate transit into your B-roll. This could be talking to someone, working at your computer. So if you have your gimbal, if you have it on the tripod, locked off, and just looking at you while you're talking to someone else, maybe you're laughing, maybe you shake their hand. I know this could be hard to set up at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's just, you set up your gimbal, you say, hey, just so you know, I'm just getting some footage. Is that all right if I, is that all right if you show up in a video of mine? Most of the time they'll be like, that's totally fine. And you could even, this could be an idea, while you're talking to them, you could pull out your phone and say, this is what, this is kind of what it looks like. And that could make for some pretty cool B-roll. But I'm not going to go into overlays right now and the editing ideas, but you could put a black overlay over this stuff right now on Instagram. It's working really well. A black overlay with some text, and the people that are in the video aren't really being visible, aren't very visible anyway. It's just, content to, I guess, occupy someone's focus for a little bit, but focusing on the words. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that, but this could be writing at a notebook. This could be you calculating something on your phone. There are so many different ways to incorporate B-roll, but I have a list right next to me, but I won't get into that. We kind of covered a good amount of B-roll just there. So vert stacking, this is really exciting. So I actually coined this term because I was sick of saying stacking 3 horizontal videos on top of each other to format vertical video. So now I just say vert stacking because that's just a much easier way of saying that whole sentence, which I don't even want to say again if I'm being completely honest. But 3 horizontal videos stacked on top of each other makes one nicely formatted vertical video. And vertical video is kind of what's taking the cake right now. So that is why that's why I'm passionate about that. And I'll show you here an example of me using vert stacking to showcase something real quick. All right, so as you can see, this is a kitchen. I have kind of an establishing shot on the top. I have I think I have side movement on the middle shot, and I have an accent shot on the bottom. If I were to do it again, I'd probably switch the bottom and the middle just so the accent shot is in the middle and there's 2 kind of wider angle on the top and bottom. But anyway, I will, and then there's a couple different shots in here too. But normally I would just do 3 shots on top of each other and leave it there. But I'll let you watch this video. All right. So as you can see there was a shot on the top, middle, bottom, and I actually switched between 2 shots on both on both layers. So like both elevations, like I don't know which orientations. There were 2 shots, but they didn't cut to the next at the same time. So that's one way you could do it, but the front and the back, those have to be trimmed to the exact same time. So that's something to keep in mind. And you can accomplish this very easily in the editing room, which I will go through on in the next module. But that is vert stacking. Right, so congratulations on finishing the shoot module. This has been probably 3 or so hours. We're probably going on 3.5 hours at this point. So not a small amount of information. So props to you for sticking with it. Now let's get into the summary here. So for real estate, I would highlight objects that you think are worth showing off and worth, a second look at. And maybe this is appliances that are standout. Maybe this is cool decor or a lighting fixture, or I think that kind of covers that. So lifestyle. So for lifestyle, you can highlight transportation. Transportation is a great way to keep the video moving forward, as well as showing off your surroundings and just adding to that story. And vert stacking you could do primarily for real estate video. I don't think it's as, I don't think it's very cinematic, so you might not want to include it with your lifestyle videos. But again, I'm just giving you the tools. You can take all of the tools that I give you and run with them, make whatever you want. The creative control is yours in that respect. So hopefully you got something out of all of those. Hopefully you can implement those in your social media for the better. But with that being said, again, congratulations on finishing the shoot module. You'll have the final exam, and we will see you in the editing module. This is Mobile Video Mastery. Let's get after it.